Welcome to UnJustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now and hit the notification bell, and that way you will receive all of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope you enjoy today's video.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
And welcome to What's Alan? The Castaways. The veterans.
Castaways, yeah.
Yeah, how'd you like that trailer?
I thought it was adorable. I loved it.
Oh, man. I did that one time a long time ago, but the pictures were a little bit different. And I was like, we got to do this. We got to do this because, I mean, we got some veterans up here tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of theories. It's not going to be the most popular live stream ever. But there again, who knows? It could be one of the most popular because the theories are going to be everywhere. And Megan is in the chat. Megan, we were just talking about you, honey. TJ's got a good question for you, and I can't wait to hear the answer.
I do.
God, I can't wait to hear it. Good question. So, Dave, who all do we have in here?
A lot, and I mean a lot of old friendly faces so far.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's see. Let's formally say hey to some people. We got Nelly with us tonight, y'all. She's gonna try to hang out with us a little bit tonight. She's feeling a little bit better, but you know, she's still under the weather, but she's feeling better and she's with us.
Hi, everybody, and thank you all for your prayers and your well wishes Thursday. Sorry I couldn't be here. It's been a very long week, and now I have pneumonia, so yay me.
It always turns to pneumonia with you, don't it, honey?
Yep.
Always. Okay, Jen Madison. What a great job with the video. I was just barely put together. I was just copy and pasting things, but I thought it was funny. So there ain't nothing wrong with laughing from time to time.
I liked your movie star pick. That was funny.
The movie star. I had a hard time picking who the movie star would be. I mean, I'm being honest. I'm like, who could the movie star be? It's like a Nate. He was there in every one of these things, right? The Friends Speak. Where all did he go? Dr. Phil. No, I don't think he did. He go to Dr. Phil? I know he went to Dr. Oz.
No, not Dr. Phil, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was just everywhere. I was like, yeah, he's going to be the movie star. Okay, we got a new subscriber.
Brand new boat.
Yeah. New subscriber. Welcome, Gregory. Nice to have you with us. Leather and Lace.
Wow.
Definitely an OG. Definitely an OG. Great to have you here, honey. And Be Kind. Great to have you with us. Shayla. Ara was supposed to be on panel tonight, but it looks like she's got something going on, so she's not going to get to be here with us.
Well, we're sorry to miss you, Ara.
Yeah. We'll do it again sometime.
Sorry, hold on.
Chick Tracy. Adrian. Utter.
Thanks, Megan.
Zephyr Hills. Geez, we got a bunch. I want to welcome everybody here. It's so nice to see all the old Watts people. Isn't that cool? Y'all just see them all in the same room again.
Yeah.
And Tanya, you got Jody is cool saying hey to you and David as well.
Hi, Jody.
Kelly Austin. Yeah, we're looking forward to this too. Really. I mean, not all of us, but many of us have differences of opinions, even up here on this panel. But we all do it with grace, respect. We all love each other dearly, you know, and totally respect each other's thoughts and opinions. I know me and Dave have several different ones. And we all love each other, you know? That's the way it needs to be. We love to hear each other out too. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to agree on everything, but you can be willing to listen to the other person's opinions and why they believe that way. And it could literally open up something that gives you something else to think about, right?
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Megan, did you get the link? Because I got it put in there somewhere. Okay, let's just get right on with this. We got some bullet points here wrote down, and we're just going to start with the first one. So we're going to go to you, Dave, first.
Me,
How
it's
did you?
not my fault.
Yeah. How did you come across Watts Island, and what got you so interested in the case?
Oh boy, that's a bad
Yeah.
one because let's see here. How would you put it? I was hurt at work, and the only thing I could do was more or less go on YouTube. And at the time, I was just going through like music videos and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I was the one that ended up actually at AD's. And seriously, I listened to him religiously,
I
and then I
did too.
started going into all these different groups, and I was repeating the things that he was saying, and I was getting crucified. I was getting called out left, right, and center, and it's
Oh, I
like,
know that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, it's like I was going by what AD was saying. Okay, I got nothing against him or anything like that, but when he is
Right.
saying his own opinion, he should actually state that, not say it as gospel. And that's what the problem happened. And so, yeah, I got called out, and it actually took me less time to Google it to find out the truth than it did to listen to AD, for 3 hours babbling. So right then and there, I went seriously because of I ended up like with work when I got hurt and everything. I ended up with a really bad PTSD and everything that goes with it. So sometimes I was up like I think my longest stint was 46 hours without sleep. So I dug heavy
Oh
into the
my.
watch, and yeah, I was I went heavy in anything, any like wormhole I could find. I went down it, and yeah, ever since I've been still doing it. So when people ask me a question, or if I post something in one of the many groups I'm in and they call me out, it's like, okay, explain what you're talking about because I actually know what I'm talking about. Every once
Right.
in a
Right.
while, I will get corrected, and that's again, my PTSD depends on like what's going on and that. It affects my memory really, really bad. So if I misspoke on something, somebody corrects me, great, and I thank them for doing so because I don't want to put out any misinformation either. So
Right. And I think it's also important to mention that Dave is and I'm not going to say what rank or what, but he is former a part of law enforcement. So that's kind of important to mention, I think. And what I do is not really law enforcement, but how would you say it, Dave? It is uh,
You
investigations. I don't know
well,
how else to say.
actually,
and you do
seriously
expert
now,
what well never mind.
Yeah, that
actually,
too, Nelly.
what you do, you're actually when if you ever have to get called to court, you're actually called as a professional witness too. But the
Yes.
whole thing is um, how would you put it? The stuff that you come across, you actually come across it at live time usually, not like the police where they get called to a call that something's already happened. You're actually there as it's happening and then have to call the police.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
that's more important.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's also more dangerous. So
It is. It is. Has to be very behind the scenes kind of thing. But TJ, how did you happen up on Watts Island?
how did I end up on Watts Island? I can tell
And
you exactly how.
and how long have you been stranded here, honey?
Sorry, what was that?
How long have you been stranded on the island?
Ever since Shanann went missing.
oh
Oh
wow.
wow, you've been there that long.
Yeah. So I got a
Wow.
message from I've been into Facebook groups and stuff like that. Have my own Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm.
At a time, I believe I had like 35 Facebook groups about different cases. And one day, a friend of mine sent me a message saying, "Hey, have you heard about that pregnant woman missing in Colorado?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." So he sent me a couple of links, and I read through this. And we basically, me and Roger, we opened up this group on Facebook to, well, basically to hope that she's coming back, right?
Right.
And to find out
Wow. So
what
you go back that far.
what is the background. Then I, of course, was watching her videos on Facebook, was basically absorbing every single thing on the news. And as you guys know, I'm living in Germany, but I do have American news channels, CNN and all these things. So I was watching and listening, and the very, very, very first video I've been watching on YouTube from a YouTube creator was from you, Kim.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Okay.
And ever since then, I was under the impression that, yeah, he absolutely did this, right? I mean, when the
Right.
discovery came out and all the
Mhm.
servers broke down in Weld County, you know, I was into all these things like from 2018. That's so crazy. And bef- how did I come to true crime? Is I've been working with death row inmates on their cases because I
Mhm.
have a general interest in true crime.
Yes.
But I never really was stuck with a case like this.
Right. Same here. Same here.
And I don't know why that is.
I
It's
don't either.
probably because we have so much information
But you
from,
know, we've got a lot on other I mean, I know there's a lot here, but we've got a lot on others, you know. You know that
yeah,
from doing true crime.
but it was,
It's
in this case, it was basically presented to us on a silver platter,
true. True enough. We
right?
didn't have to fight for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more I dug into this, the more I was like, something ain't right here.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I never believed that stuff like corruption within law enforcement exists.
Oh gosh.
Um, I was always the kind of person, you believe what, is on the news,
Right. Yeah.
and you believe or you trust your law enforcement, you trust the police, you trust them to do a good job, to put the bad people behind bars. But this wasn't like this in this case somehow,
Mm-mm. Right.
right? And yeah, that's just what caught my interest.
Yeah, I mean, same pretty much, you know. I remember when it happened, when she was missing, and I was watching it, you know, on the news. They had the little clips, and I was like, you know, that's very interesting. I was in another case at the time, so I was just halfway paying attention to it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then honestly, I just thought it was going to be another, you know, it's hard to say it this way, but it's the truth. Another one of those cases where domestic violence, and it ends the way it did.
Yeah.
You know, that was where I was going originally. And then I saw that they were making the Lifetime, not the Netflix, the Lifetime. And I was like, well, I want to see that, you know. So I put it to record, and I forgot all about it. And then I started seeing it come up in groups and things like that. So I just started watching it. And you know, me, I mean, I'm looking at the documentary. It's Lifetime, you know, it's just, it is what it is. So I start pulling out my, I start going to my sites and pulling information. And I was like, yeah, what? What? This crime scene was shut down and what?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was reminding me so much of the John Bonet case, with it being Colorado and the tainted crime scene, shut down, fast plea. and yeah, that's how I ended up here, was actually the Lifetime. And of course I made my first channel, and it was so funny how I made the first channel. I never planned to be a YouTuber. I never spoke on YouTube.
Neither did I.
Never. I mean, never. I would just type up some stuff, and then there was people in these Facebook groups going, God, I wish I could see the Lifetime movie, or I wish I could see this or that. And I'm like, well, hell, I have all these, page things. I'll just record it on my phone and put it on YouTube and you can watch it. I had no idea I was copyrighting the hell out of things. I didn't know.
I know.
I had
When
no idea.
When I started, it's like, oh my God. I didn't know what to, I did not know what I'm doing.
Right. Right. And then I was just like, I was putting that there, and then I was getting copyrights, but not strikes, so it wasn't going against the channel, but I was like, okay, so what's the big deal, But anyway, I learned that I should not be doing that. So I deleted all those, and there's most of them still on my Facebook page, but yeah. And then people was just asking me questions, and I was talking about it, and I was like, damn, there's a lot of interest in this case. So we just started talking about it. That's how I ended up here. After, my first channel got deleted because of Troy McCoy. And I wished I had not had deleted that interview.
Oh my God. Troy McCoy, don't even get me started on him.
Yeah. I wished I would have never deleted it because he kept hitting me. So I was just like, oh my God, if it's that big a deal, I don't even want it. I'm not even going to have it in my computer. I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't know what your problem is. Well, now looking back, man, I wish I would have never. What was it in there he was so worried about,
Mm-hmm.
It was something. It was definitely something. And it wasn't something everybody had, because there's still many Troy McCoy interviews out there that he don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just deleted it. So Nelly, how did you come across Watts?
Well, it started whenever she first went missing, and the first thing I saw was when he did his sermon on the porch, and we were all at work thinking it was very weird.
Oh, wow.
Like his behavior, we were like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? He's smiling and they're missing.
You've been here a long time too, haven't you, honey?
Yeah. So then it started. Then I got diagnosed, shortly after that. And
yes.
I was searching on YouTube because I wanted to hear the discovery, but I didn't want to read it, because I did get a copy of it, but I didn't want to read it. I was like, golly, this is too many damn pages.
It's a lot.
So I was just searching online for, searching on YouTube for Chris Watts, getting it read. And you're the only female that has read it from cover to cover. And there's one other person that read it, and they didn't have half of what you have.
Yeah, I know that there's one other guy that did it, the Diplomat. And I never listened to it, but kudos to him. I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, he has a lot of stuff, but I think he doesn't have some of the pages you do,
Yeah. Some of those notes is hard to read. You can't really hardly make them out, but
that's how I started. But I was already on your page your first time, and then it got deleted. I was like, where the hell did she go?
Yeah. I know. And I wasn't even gonna redo it, but Dave is like, yes, you are. Yes,
I'm glad
you
you did.
So that's how UnJustified is still here. When I did come back, some of you might remember I didn't even use this name. I renamed the whole channel Outcast Justice. And Dave's like, stop and stop. And then I had changed my music. He's like, don't do that. And so he's like, put it back like it was. So that's what I did,
Good on you, Dave, making her follow.
That's what I did. Okay. So one of the main theories out there, and this is going to be a good one, y'all. It's been talked about a lot, and I don't have the picture to pull it up, but you've all seen it a million times. NK walking out of that garage. Some people says it is her. Some people says it's not her. Some people says they can't tell. Also, that shadow, is that Bella? Is that Dieter? Is that what the hell is it? We're going to start with you, Dave. Do you think that's NK walking out of that garage?
I can safely say yes, because I was fortunate enough to see a video that TJ will be releasing in her documentary. It's the same one that she sent to the Attorney General, and hoping that they would look at it and maybe open up the case. But since we've been going through it, it's not going to happen, because if NK and Troy McCoy did make a deal with the FBI, they have immunity as long as it doesn't go to court, which means the video that they actually gave us, they actually dirtied that video so we couldn't make it out who it was that even come out of the garage. But like I said, with her video, seriously, you can see her eyebrows. But as to Dieter or Bella, or, you know, coming out of the garage and that was her shadow, to me, I'd say 1,000% it was nothing like that at all. Because if you look at the video itself, you see the shadow coming and stopping. You can see the Chris bending over that everybody thinks and everything else. The whole thing is you can see through the wheel wells, the back wheel wells of that truck. You can see through it. So even if it was Dieter that came out, you would have seen Dieter or Bella or Cece. But it was wide open. You could see right through it. So if you step back again, as that video, or on the video, as the shadow starts to move, it makes more sense that because the garage light's on, somebody walked to the back of the truck, and like to the tailgate of the truck, and stopped. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. Because, well, besides that, if it wasn't for that, the Rusicks wouldn't have got paid their insurance money either. So, sorry for laughing, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's what the shadow was all about. Is somebody came to the back of the truck and stopped there. As to Chris bending over, he did everything that he said he put in that truck. He did that day. And I really do believe that he bent over to pick up the totes that he said that he put in the backseat of the truck. So inside the totes, there was two. One had O-rings in there, and the other one had his air tools from when he was a mechanic. So if you look on the back of that truck, he has the hose reels for an air compressor. So if they had to take something apart, all they had to do is hook up the air compressor to his tools, and away he goes. Some impacts, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, they take off the bolts or whatever he needed to with them.
Right. Well, I mean, see, that all makes perfect sense, right? I mean, it does. TJ, do you think that is NK coming out the garage?
100%.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, I did, but Don did clear up that video. I believe it was 600 times. Like,
wow.
The depixelated pixelation was like cleared up 600 times or something like that, or 60 times. And the reason I believe that they say, oh yeah, he picked Bella up or Cece or whoever, I do not believe that this was the shadow of a child coming out of the garage. I do not believe that. First of all, because the shadow doesn't look like a child. You don't see a head, you don't see arms, you don't see anything like that. It just looks like somebody is standing or walking in the garage.
I agree.
Right? And as far as him picking something up, I think he just dropped something, because we see him picking up something, I believe 3 times in that video.
Yes, and then going right back to his truck. I agree with you right there.
Exactly. And when you look at it, after he picks that object up, he goes straight to the front of his truck. His headlights are breaking. He's going around the truck. So, no, I don't believe that this was Bella. No. And the reason they say, I personally do not believe that any technician ever looked at this footage again. It just fit the narrative.
Dave, your mic's crackling. I'm not sure. Is it Dave's? I think it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that, TJ. Even when I first came into this case, on YouTube and things like that, and digging a little deeper, as most, I ended up on AD's channel, right? Because let's be honest, when back a long time ago, when you Googled his name, who came up, and it was AD. And he was very interesting, and the points he was throwing out there and all that. And, I have nothing against AD. I mean, I don't. At the same time, he thinks differently than I do in a lot of things. But either way, I was watching AD, and he was trying, talking about him finding this shadow and this shadow and this shadow. Well, I was looking at it, and I just couldn't see it being a child. Only I was like, maybe it was the dog, but if it was the dog, then why wouldn't the dog still loose, And so, yeah, I'm with you there. I do not think it was a child at all. I don't.
No, if he wouldn't have carried on doing what he was doing, I might agree. But he just kept on doing his stuff, and like TJ said, he went around to the front of the truck. We would have seen him carrying something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We would have seen him carrying this child or a dog,
Right.
But he didn't. He just kept on doing his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You telling me he just heaved the kid or the dog in the back of the truck and then walked around? Or you didn't see him open that door to put anything inside his car?
No. And that with like Megan said earlier, putting her in the back seat, how could he have put Shanann in the driver's side and pushed her through there without having to go around to the other side, to pull her shoulders or something? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm speaking technically general knowledge here. How would he do that? Would he not have to go to the other side, open the door, and maybe pull shoulders to get her to go across?
He would have had to, because dealing with a dead body is not the same as dealing with a live sleeping body.
Exactly.
They're totally different.
And then my mind went to maybe she was in the back. Maybe it was the back of the truck. But then when you see all this stuff that's in the back of the truck, where would she have been back there? Like,
I have a question for TJ.
Oh, God. I'm not prepared.
TJ, what do you think of them taking Shanann out the back?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and that's a good one, Dave. That is
a good one.
The theories out there, yeah, that she was taken out the back. Chris said that he did lay her at the back, at the sliding glass. He said he did lay her there.
With the pictures that I posted inside Facebook there, it's mud tires, just like NK's 4Runner, that backed up to the fence. And if you look at that fence, I actually showed pictures of Cece standing on that fence, and Cece could get over that fence like nothing. So a 4Runner like hers backed up to the fence. All they'd have to do is open up the tailgate and either put in or take out, because it was there. It's just that easy. And it's like with Chris, he kept on saying that maybe she went out over the fence, or somebody took her over the fence, because there's no cameras, there's no lights, nobody lives back there.
And he knew that. He knew that.
Oh, yeah.
He's telling on himself, basically saying, oh, there's a camera, and there are no cameras in the back, though. And another thing is, would somebody be that stupid to put a dead body out front? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, good question.
Knowing that there is a camera.
That's if she was dead too, though. Nobody knows where she was actually murdered. Because I'm sorry, but I do feel that they did get her in the basement. And do you remember that 1.5 second sleeper chokehold that I used to show? I really do think somebody got her from behind and put that on her. and more or less put her to sleep just to move her out of the house and then take her somewhere else.
I do believe she ended up being murdered in the house, though. I do believe that.
You mean Shanann?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, so do I.
I have to agree with the ladies on that one too. I think
My thing, though,
she
is
died in the house.
where did all the blood go?
There wasn't any.
She had you know, I don't know anything about Thrive yet, right? But from research and what doctors say, that stuff dries you out.
Oh, definitely.
And her organs being dried out, I mean, she was complaining about being dehydrated and she needs to drink more, and being pregnant even more. And she didn't stop using those patches, taking her balance capsules 3 times a day. And I do believe that this caused a lot of her being dried out.
Did you get a chance to listen to What's Wednesday, the last one?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Oh, not a problem. Kimberly just blew my mind on what she thinks had happened. And I truly do believe she hit it right on, because remember, the alcohol level was so high.
Yes.
So Kimberly, can you touch back on that? Because honest to God,
Yes.
I really do think it's very important. And honest to God, I am sorry for your loss. I did not know that happened to Felicia. So
Yeah.
I'll let you go to it and see what TJ and everybody else thinks.
Okay. Well, when my daughter, this has been back in 2009, she was pregnant and everything was going great. And she was going to all of her OBGYNs, but as you well know, the OBGYN really doesn't like to do an ultrasound until it's 20 weeks. They don't really do them just to see what the gender is, right? So that is why women will do like the 4Ds, so they can have the gender reveal parties and those special little pictures and things like that. So anyway, my daughter went and had one of those as well. She comes home with a photo. Actually, I think it was like 4 photos she got there, and I still have them. And it was a little boy, and he's little chubby cheeks. I mean, I've got the photo. He looks so perfect, right? Within 48 hours, we get a phone call from this little clinic. She needed to contact her OBGYN ASAP because there was a medical issue that the OBGYN needed to talk to her about. Okay. They had already contacted her doctor. So she goes to the doctor a couple of days later and finds out that the baby, the fetus, is deceased. She was 16 weeks pregnant, I believe it was. I will have to look on the ultrasound. But the baby was deceased. The baby had actually been deceased for what they said probably almost a week before she had this ultrasound done. So she had to schedule a D&C surgery to have the fetus removed from the womb because she was carrying a dead fetus. Well, she couldn't get the surgery till almost a week later. May have even been a week. It's been a long time. But here's the thing. It was so scary, TJ. It was a mind twist because she could feel the baby moving like a lot, even after they had told her that it was deceased. Well, she could feel it moving, very active, right? And her stomach was even growing. So it was like, my baby is not dead, Mom. No, it's not.
Aww.
So when we go
That
to
ghost movement.
So
yeah,
sad.
it was rough. So we go to the D&C appointment, and They put the heart, it had no heartbeat. I mean, it was deceased. And so we're asking the doctor, why is she having why is the baby moving? Why does she continue to, her stomach she's growing. The bump is growing. Well, the reason being is the baby was moving so much is because it was deceased and it was organically positioning itself
Be
for,
extracted.
yes, miscarriage. Why is her stomach still growing? The gases from the fetus.
Yeah.
And it's putting poisons through her body. Okay.
I bet she
So
was sick as a dog.
yeah, and she was starting to get sicker. She was throwing up. She was constipated. Her back hurt. And just to be honest, and I am just saying this because I know it was the same exact symptoms that Shanann was experiencing when she was in North Carolina. Now, understand, I am not saying that's what's wrong with Shanann, but it was the same symptoms. And then to know that ultrasound clinic called and said, we got medical information you need to know. Okay, this ultrasound clinic is not a medical clinic. They tell you that in the beginning, but they can see things that's not right, like a deceased baby, just different things, not normal growth and things like that. They can see it and they can tell you or the OBGYN, but that's it. That's as far as they go. So when we noticed that there was some medical attention, now what would that clinic, what kind of medical attention could they be talking about? You know?
There's not many possibilities.
Yeah, probably the same thing as it happened to your daughter.
That's what I mean.
Well, we had that conversation that's what we thought it was, you know.
Yeah.
You and I came on our little late night chats, but
yes. So
and it very well could have been, unless there's nothing else it could have been. I mean, they would have called if they saw the umbilical cord wrapping around. I mean, working in OB, we did have those kind of places call us when they saw abnormalities on their scans, and of course we'd have them send over the recording of it, and we'd have them send over the stills and everything else for the doctor to review, and then we'd bring the patient in ourselves.
Yeah. Well, you know, she was posting while she was in Arizona. Was it Arizona? Felt the baby moving a lot this weekend, and you know, it's just, and she did. Think about it. Look how very pregnant she looks walking in that front door. I mean, she looks very pregnant, more pregnant than she did at the airport when she was headed back to Colorado. Like, she really got bigger in a week. So, you know, I mean, just saying, it definitely may not be anything similar at all. However,
it makes sense though.
Yeah, because when you pass, we all know that your body starts expelling any waste, mucus, you know, everything. And if there was gases, then that would have been expelled too.
Yeah. Gases causing ethanol, and this might be the reason why she had such a high alcohol level in her blood as well. I do not believe personally that she has been drinking and stuff like that. I
don't either.
See that.
No.
Here and there a glass of wine, all right. So, you know, but no, that BAC, and I've been talking to 6 medical examiners and students in my town, and they said this is a very, very high BAC to come from decomposition. Very high.
Yes.
So unless she took certain medications, this is not really explainable. You know, I mean, your body does release alcohol when you're deceased, but not to that extent, and especially not after 3 days.
Exactly. That was a very high level, high enough so much
Mm-hmm.
so that Rourke was even having it looked into, and even asking Shanann's friends, was she drinking? Because that's
Right.
how high the level was. It was,
Mm-hmm.
if it was a normal level for the decomposition, then
Mm-hmm.
why would they have went back to her friends and said, did she drink anything? You know, that they was also like, well, that ain't right.
Exactly.
You know.
Same with Nico. I mean, the genetic testing. Someone from the lab basically got him off the medical examiner's table right away. Like the autopsy started at 10 a.m. and at 10:10, this guy was there to pick up Nico for genetic testing. So what are you doing with genetic testing? Right? What tests are they performing?
Yeah.
And I looked into this a little. They cannot say for sure if Nico was male or female.
Mm-mm.
The medical examiner could not tell how old he was.
Right.
And he basically, what you cannot say at all in these tests, no matter what you test, is when did the child die? You cannot determine that.
Mm-mm.
And what I was always surprised with was I don't even want to say this, but this is basically a lump of goo, right? But they
Right.
were able to measure the foot length, but not determine how old the fetus was. And this
Or
was
the gender. Yes.
right. And this was no. I think they basically just needed a reason, so they definitely can keep him behind bars.
Yes.
It says, a termination of the pregnancy resulting basically in the death of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's what the media had to begin with.
they pinned
That's
that on
all
him
they
too,
had.
and that's like a 43-year sentence,
Yes.
and he cannot get out of this
No.
because there are no tests who can determine what happened.
Mm-mm. No, and that's all the media had to go with in the beginning of how
Exactly.
Shanann passed away, was she died due to the termination of the pregnancy. It later came out, I think maybe with the autopsy, but it later came out that it was due to the strangulation. But originally it was, I mean, we still have these with the media saying that that was her cause of death or manner of death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know.
that wouldn't happen either because they said the fetus was out of the sack in the sand. So, if she was strangled and that happened, and like it didn't, how would you put it? It would have protruded out of the body, but the sand and dirt would have kept it in. It wouldn't have ended up in the sand outside of the sack. So, and even with Chris too, he said that she had the baby in the grave. So which
Yes,
is it?
Oh,
but
I
there
don't
was
believe a
also
word
him
he's
saying,
saying.
and there was also him talking about the smell, the smell, the smell. Well, the body
Yeah.
does release itself, upon death,
Mm,
so, and then he said, I believe she had given birth. So it just makes me wonder if it was the gases and all that expelled everything so quickly upon her death. Dave, I'm going to let you answer. Honest woman here wanting to know, because you're really good at explaining this. Why was her BAC level so high?
I honest to God think because, okay, if you go back to North Carolina, she was violently ill there, and she wouldn't go to emergency. Like, why in the heck wouldn't you? Especially she said she threw up a week's worth of food. You had
Hey, Popsy
Frankie
lady.
sitting up with her all night, and then she's really badly dehydrated. They end up going over to um, the ocean there. And then she ends up going to Arizona, and all the way through, NA kept on saying everybody made sure that she was drinking less because she's so dehydrated. In North Carolina, she's actually spotting too. So I honestly think that she was losing Nico then. And one thing, I guess, with her, if
I
she's
agree.
trying to get back in with Chris, she sure in the heck wouldn't want to go to the hospital and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but you lost your
And
baby."
at this
Because
point, she still hadn't seen a doctor. All
that's
she
right.
saw was that ultrasound to get that done.
Exactly.
She had not seen an MD, an OBGYN. She had not seen anyone.
So to me, if she's trying to save her marriage, and the only thing that she thinks is going to save her marriage is if she has a boy, but there was nothing ever saying anywhere that she was having a boy. Ever, anywhere, not even on the ultrasound. They left that blank. On the ultrasound too, where the genitalia area was, it's blacked out with a black marker.
But and there's only one photo of the ultrasound. Now, I'm not sure if all of them do, but usually there's like a strip of like 4
Yeah,
because
you
these
get 4.
ultrasounds cost a lot of money, you
Yep.
know? And so there's only that one that's ever been anywhere, and yeah, you can't see the genitalia area.
The only person that can answer that question doesn't talk, and she's the only one that got the actual copy of the results.
If that's true too, we don't know because she lies so much
Well,
too.
I wasn't going to say that. I was being nice.
But no, according to her, she did have a copy of it. So, but again, we're not sure. But to me, if that's the case, if she was just losing Nico when she was in North Carolina and it was still going on in Arizona, then she had that appointment for her doctor finally on Monday, then it's like maybe it did die. And that's why her alcohol levels were so high, is because it was more or less she's going septic. And if that's the case, yeah, I could see the alcohol level being so high then, so that's one thing that I wish we could find out, if it was actually alive at the time of her murder, but we'll never find out.
Well, I find it odd why Dr. Phil asked her, was the baby alive? And
That's
I
right.
mean, why was that even mentioned? I mean, I don't get that. Why was people saying the baby was not alive? And then Dr. Phil's like, well, was it alive? I mean, there had to have been question around that for that topic to have even, came out at that time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And even with Nico, it was underweight too. It wasn't full, like developed to what it should have been either. So that was another reason why I wonder if it was deceased.
And then her mom saying, "Oh yeah, he was definitely not alive, blah blah blah." No. And I totally agree with Goodnight Owl. 100%. He is repeating and he is saying what people want to hear, right? When he was asked, "Oh, did she give birth by then?" No. Same thing with her eyes. "Oh, were her eyes bloodshot?" No. And then 5 minutes later, he says, "Oh, and then this happened, what you just said to her eyes." No. No way. Either you have bloodshot eyes or you don't. It's not just happening. And the
Right.
autopsy states clearly that she didn't have bloodshot eyes. So he is, basically telling people what they want to hear. And he does that all the time.
Well, that's
Throughout.
one thing. If he signed his plea agreement, that means he can't talk about what actually happened unless Rourke gives the okay. And that means even to law enforcement. So if he's making up stuff, that's because he can't talk about the case, or he'll go back to Colorado. He'll break his plea agreement.
They needed something to, even though there is new evidence in the murder of Shanann and the girls, they needed something where they can still keep him behind bars.
Right.
And Rourke says that openly, right? I needed something. I didn't want Nico to go without justice. So I needed something to pin on him. And that was the termination of the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 43 or 48 years, right?
Right.
Oh, be kind. Just sometime in April. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna tell you got a question there. I'm looking forward to that documentary as well. I know that's got to be a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
Couldn't
not
even
going to be a
imagine.
voiceover either.
Couldn't even imagine.
I'm
Okay.
at minute 16 or 17. Let me check. 16:53, and it already took me like a month.
Yes, I believe it. I know. Oh my goodness, I know. There's so much work.
I'm a perfectionist. I don't, if I'm not happy with something, it won't come out.
Yeah. And you just keep redoing it. I do the same
Mhm.
thing. And then usually I'll go back and put it the way I had it to begin with.
I mean, you have to also determine, what's legal to say and what's not.
Right.
Very
So
careful. Yeah.
you have that barrier too. But I found a way to say everything I want to say, and in kind of a good way without saying it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
She was under a lot of stress in North Carolina. And yeah, it was definitely enough to cause a miscarriage. Yes, thanks to Chris. So, I mean, it makes you wonder,
You can go yes and no on that because which Chris?
Well, yeah,
Well,
the other, yeah, that one too. Yep.
Because why is she driving around with Chris Miller and his mom looking at houses in North Carolina?
Yeah, quite often. I mean, they were out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And he wanted to know why Cadel was allowed to talk to Chris. That's because Cadel was talking to Chris about doing a book on his religion that he more or less discovered while he was in jail. And then that's how it turned into letters from Christopher. So that was the only reason there. And one thing too with that is one of Cadel's viewers or subscribers or whatever told her about a dream that she had, and Cadel went and repeated it to Chris, and that's what Chris gave as what he did when they interviewed him in Dodge.
I was sent those messages from that girl.
Oh, cool.
Chris, she got a hold of Chris, Annie. I'll let Dave answer this, but she got a hold of Chris herself, fronting that she was wanting him to tell his story of redemption, not really even about the case, but I'll let you go ahead and do that because Dave, I'm not a big fan of Cheryl and Cadel.
No, me either. Oh, that was the only reason, is that the whole thing was supposed to be a religious book and a religious talk, nothing else about the case, period. So the only reason why it came up about this lady nightmare that she had or whatever, or dream, the thing that she went and told Chris about, and then Chris repeated it, saying that that's what he did. But other than that, that was the only reason why she was allowed, more or less, to talk to Chris.
Basically, she lied
If you want to
about
talk
her
to Chris,
reasons being there.
just start talking religion to him right off the bat, and 9 times out of 10 they say that he'll talk to you. So, but that's about all I know about that.
I want to let everybody know that the butterfly up here is vintage art. She is also a member of Team Unjustified, and she hasn't said anything yet, I don't think. If she did, I missed it.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, dear.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Yeah, I've been listening. I was just gonna say, the comment I put in the other night that no one was seeing when you guys were looking for my comment, NA had someone comment on her Facebook the day before yesterday, and it was a pretty rude comment, but it was straight out, and they said, "Have you been in financial ruin selling Thrive like it did to your friend?" They commented that on her Facebook when she was doing a live, and I was actually really shocked that someone was so blatant to say that. Well, she commented back in the text and stuff, and she said she wasn't in financial ruin. That's just how the media spun it. Now, I have a lot of respect for her for everything that she's gone through and things like that, but it's like it's all over, black and white. Everything's been put out there. It's nothing like
Yeah.
something was spun. Don't
No.
lie. I understand that she wants to defend her deceased friend, but don't lie about it. Just say, yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of her financials, but I'm good. She could have left it at that, but don't lie, you know?
This is
Yeah, I
cherry
mean,
picking. This is absolute cherry picking. Now she's saying, oh, the media does spread lies or whatever. But she does believe the
Yeah,
media with everything they say about Chris Watts. So no,
right,
which one is it?
right.
And
Yeah,
documents don't lie.
right. And then as far as like the whole gender of Nico and stuff like that, the only thing that I can think of is that when she went and got the 4D ultrasound and stuff, they'll tell you the gender of the baby, and then they'll ask, a lot of them ask, do you want me to black it out, whatever like that. Maybe that could have been, I don't know. But when I got one done years and years ago, it was a 3D. They told me the gender, and then they could put it in an envelope and all that, because she did text Chris, I can't believe we're having a little boy. So maybe they told her, and maybe it was the R's that blacked it out before it hit the media and things of that nature. But I don't understand why they would do that
She sent it to
if
her
they found
in-laws
out that
that
well, it was a
way.
boy.
yeah, she sent it to
Yeah,
Ronnie that
She sent it
way.
to
yeah,
Ronnie
but
blacked out.
that's what's so weird. But and then she was telling Chris, I'm so happy we're having a boy. She named him everything. So why is it blacked out? I don't understand. That's what was so weird.
Well, that goes back to her having a boy in order to save her marriage too.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And that was another
I
reason
I
I thought why she would go to emergency when she is so sick and she was spotted,
right,
is because she had to have a
right.
boy.
And she did look very, very, very pregnant, a lot bigger um at 14, 15 weeks when on that doorbell camera, and she was complaining about constipation. That will do it too. I mean, if she was very constipated and stuff, man, your stomach will blow up like a balloon. I don't know. I don't
Absolutely. Um, see, I don't know the answer to this. Why does Frank have a direct line to call CW? I didn't know he did. Does he?
Huh?
Do y'all know? TJ, Dave, I didn't know Frank did have a direct line. That's pretty interesting.
I don't know if you want to call it direct line. It's just that he would be on, but I don't know if he still is or not.
He definitely listens to the Ruseks more than to his own parents.
That's right.
He always has.
Yeah.
The direct line thing came directly from Cindy. She told another creator that Frank directly called Chris to tell him that he'll always have a place in his heart and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think that's where the direct line quote came from. It was from Cindy. I don't think it was literal though.
No.
Well,
Yeah, because they
now
have
it
to be on
could
a
be.
visit.
It could be because I talked to several people that is incarcerated, and yes, many of them do have their own phone number, and you can text
Really?
them. Yes, they have their issued, and they have to pay like $20 to have it issued. It's like a phone, but the only thing they can do is call and text on it, and
You
it's like
gotta
50
love our
cents.
legal system. Dude, our justice system sucks balls.
But yeah, many correction facilities do have their inmates can have their own phone. Yes. So, I mean, I don't know if Chris does, but I'm just saying it's possible.
What's the point of them being in jail if they can do all that?
But here's the
I
kicker.
agree.
If Frank has a direct line to call him, then he had to have given Frank the number.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Frank couldn't have just pulled it out his ass. Chris had to have given him that number. So, that's something to think about too, right?
Yes, they'd have to be on a visitor call list. So that's the same thing as if, like Cindy and Ronnie, because they have access to Chris, of course. They're on a visitor's call and they can do their Zoom or FaceTime, whatever. And if they're like talking on there and somebody else comes in and, that's not on the list and starts talking to Chris, they could actually lose their privileges too. So if they are talking, like if Frank is talking to Chris and they brought in, say Chris Miller to talk to Chris, then they could actually lose the privilege of talking to Chris anymore too. So
Right. Gregory, we don't really know. I mean, all we know is that the ultrasound that Ronnie got, because he sent it straight to me, he sent me the text message that she sent him. Yeah. That is the very one that she sent to him. So we got the original from Ronnie, and it is Sharpied out. So as far as she knew the gender, we don't know. We just don't know. Or I don't know.
yeah, see, even with that, when she sent it to Ronnie, she never said boy or girl either. So
yeah, she just said your grandchild or something.
yes.
Yeah, and I agree. Good night, Al. That was odd to identify a body over the phone by their hair color and how pretty they are. That's just, I don't know. It seems like they would have gotten somebody from there that knows her to identify it. I don't know. I always found that very odd myself.
Well,
I think it was obvious. Those were the only ones missing. Well, not the only ones missing, but missing and then found. I believe that if it's true what Sandra says, no law enforcement official would say, no, she's like decomposed and stuff like that, I mean, he probably just did this to ease her mind. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't know if he would go back to Colorado. Actually, I'm surprised Chris is still where he's at. That prison that he's in right now, it's like a soft prison. It's a transitional prison.
And I think that's because it's part of the plea agreement.
Yeah, it's that's just like a holding prison,
Yeah.
Some people think that it's the same prison that Stephen Avery's in. No, it's not. Stephen's in the one on down. It's not far. It's only maybe 5 miles down the road, but the one Chris is in used to only be a medical facility, like for geriatric patients, or, well, Ed Gein died there. It used to be like a mental, prison or something.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it used to be a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, it was. It was like a mental institution. Yeah, Ed Gein died there. He was actually there when they went ahead and, put it into a holding facility. He was still there then, but it's more like a mental, something like, I guess, for men, like that, what's her name? Andrea Yates is in. So, and a lot of people think, I still read this every day, Chris is 23 hours behind bars. That's not true. Chris has been in general population basically almost since he first got there. So, and a lot of people still think he's in this kind of big time lockdown. That's not true.
No.
Do you guys think that he gets as many letters as he used to? Do you think they're starting to die down a bit?
Well, with that, they went and took his name off of the list of being in there too, so people couldn't get access to mailing him like to an address anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because that was one of the biggest problems, that he was getting so much fan mail. So I don't think
mail. That's disgusting.
I still can't believe they put so much of that into Discovery, and that's why I said the other night in the comment section, how stupid do they think the public is? Who puts love letters and bikini photos in a Discovery?
After the fact.
Just to fill in. And the autopsy report was nothing. There was it was all, it just, whatever. I get so angry that, like I said the other night, one person, district attorney, has a monopoly on what's released and what's not and everything when it's the public that puts him into the office and stuff like that. I think that we should, aside from autopsy photos, things like that, but release the information and then people would, get the answers that they want. I don't understand why so many things are so secretive over this case. And I've never heard of a case where, he gets arrested. The person gets arrested within a matter of
In
days.
3
They get
months.
sentenced.
3
And then 3
months,
months, oh,
it's
and it's done and
closed.
it's over with. What? If it were me, if that were my daughter and grandchildren, I would say absolutely no plea agreement. I want to know what happened. Put him on the stand. I want to hear everything because I would be going nuts if I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Him being in prison alone wouldn't be enough for me. I'd want everybody. I'd want the mistress up there. I'd want everybody up.
Well, that's
That is why we are stuck on Watts Island.
Exactly.
FBI and Rourke knows exactly what happened. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to do a plea agreement.
I believe
so
they do
with
too.
the CBI coming in, that's just show for us. That's all that is.
Well,
Because if
another
you
thing
listen to
too.
the interviews, you can hear them talking about that they had just talked to somebody. And the only one that-
80%,
that was the
80% in
FBI.
Colorado gets solved with plea agreements.
Yes.
But I thought that
80%.
was the whole point of a plea agreement. Yeah, you could do a plea agreement, but you have to say what happened. He got out of that too.
No, that's why I think the FBI knows. And the FBI does not have to release any of that. And what CBI did was just give us, just something for the public to see, and that was it. Because they contradict themselves so many times throughout the whole thing. And I'm sorry, but the Rusick, they lied all the way through it.
Oh, yeah.
That and, they're talking out both sides of their face, so if anybody
I have a
listened to our
question.
last, sorry, if
No, go
anybody
ahead. I'm sorry,
listened to
Dave.
our last Watch Wednesday that we had, we did Frank Sr., and you can hear how they were coaching him with all the way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then this coming Wednesday is going to be, it's going to be a good one too, or a bad one. Depends on how you want to look at it. But there's going to be a lot of receipts showing that, it's nothing but lies coming out of the Rusicks again. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just had a question, and it's a morbid question, but I know a lot of people always wondered, not that I want to see them, but why like on Sharon Tate, they released the crime scene photos and with the rope around her neck and all of these things. John Bonet, they released one. Why on all these other cases you see all of these photos like crime scene and all these photos and stuff, and yet they didn't release anything like that in this case? I always wondered why.
Darlie Roudiere's children, Darlie Roudiere's boys. Those crime scene photos are horrific, and they're everywhere.
Is that why they stopped it? Is that why they don't do that anymore? Or is that a new thing?
They still do it.
Yeah,
they still do it, but
with this one here, Rourke went to the judge and said that he didn't want them shown. He wanted them sealed. And the judge turned around and said, "It's not up to you. It's up to the coroner." So then the coroner had them sealed. But the whole thing is, I could see not showing the girls because they've never, ever, ever had anybody sitting in crude oil before, And then even with them being in there for who knows how long they were actually in there because they can't tell. But they were already degloving and everything, So, and in some cases, they said that, face it, they could have been in there only for a month, and everything would have been dissolved except for their hair, and that's it. That would have been the only thing left was their hair, because it wouldn't have dissolved in that. But the bones, everything else would have been gone. And as to Shanann, I don't know why they never did anything with her, because they had a closed casket with her. But when they found her, that's when they put the time of death, and they could have found out when she actually died, but they didn't. So that could go back again to the FBI, actually saying when she died.
Yeah, but
her
that's
time of
common,
death.
though.
Her time of death should have been relatively easy to judge.
Yeah.
Right. And again, the whole NK thing. Oh, that irks me so bad because there's so much evidence that she was there, that she was around, or the influence. It just drives me insane.
That's why I really do think there's an immunity deal with her and Troy McCoy, because they didn't have anything on Chris, and yet they had the drones flying out there before Chris even went into his polygraph. But then
Right,
with these clowns being out there at 319, with the drones, they didn't have a search warrant when they were out there, and yet they
right.
were moving stuff around. So anything touched or moved or found, it's not admissible in court. They couldn't use it. So that's probably why all the DNA and everything was thrown out, like the physical stuff in a year, and then the the data after 3 years because they couldn't use it in court.
Well, and the thing is that I know we've talked about this before. If they have an immunity, then fine. I don't think I even hate the fact that that was even used, but no one that knows her from her past, anybody, not one person has spoke out. Now, you know what I mean? And now she might have an immunity. Troy might have an immunity. Her dad's not going to talk, or sister, or whatever, but like a high school friend or a college friend, college roommate, an old, coworker from Wendy's that used to work with her, whatever. Nobody has said a word. And that's what's so weird. Not one person in 4 years.
That's true, yeah.
Why is it they went and interviewed Frank and Frankie, but not Sandy?
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Or Cindy.
right. And then with Dave, he went and had the search warrants already there for NK's apartment, laptop, cell phone, and her Forerunner, and yet they threw all that out. They didn't need it because I really do think she talked to the FBI first, and Troy McCoy went and spilled the beans, and because another thing is Dwayne Kessinger, he's on the witness list, and if you listen to him talk, he's always you guys, as to when they were talking. So who's the
Right.
other person other than NK?
Well, even Chris, everything he says is plural.
Yeah.
Everything's plural. And it's just, I just don't understand how someone can get an immunity, even if she were to say, okay, I know where they are or whatever like that. But if like Tammy Lee said, they had to stop the clock and everything like that, getting immunity is like saying, he told me he was going to do it, then that's one thing. But there's data and there's proof and everything that she was at that house.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff. So the fact that she got immunity when clearly, I don't, maybe she didn't physically do anything, but I mean that like Nelly brought up before, that girlfriend got time for influencing her boyfriend to kill himself, and he committed suicide. So why is she set off to prison and NK gets immunity when it's clear as day that she was there?
Yeah, but they also didn't have anything against Chris in order to charge him with anything. And one thing TJ brings up too is really good, like with her data and everything, is that I still don't think the girls came home from the birthday party. Chris's cell phone does not connect to the router until after 9 p.m. And then even with his cell phone data and everything else, they don't supply anything that happened before 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Sorry.
Right.
Because if he did go out to 319 and NK's Forerunner to take the girls out there, it would have showed at least on his phone that where he was and stuff like that, right? But see, they didn't give any of that.
Right. And on that point, I was always, always like, I don't know. But the thing that really sent me where I'm 100% in agreement with you, that really sent it over, when they were at the Lindstroms and the Lindstroms was getting interviewed, and you can hear the kids in the background and everything, and their little boy, their son said, I just see them in a hole. Little kids talk. Little kids talk, and they say, I could just, maybe he pre-dug a hole, took the girls out with him or whatever. But for a little boy, a little 4 or 5-year-old boy to come up to an officer interrupt the conversation and says, I just see them in a hole.
Mm-hmm. So
And,
yeah, with them, they were late going to the Lindstroms too. And
what's
with
wrong?
that too, I think that party finished around 4:30. So Chris could have went over to NK's, got her 4Runner, and drove out to 319, dug the grave then, and disposed of the girls.
Right. And there was sand. He said there was sand everywhere. There was no sand at that party. They were doing water balloons. There was no
That's
sand.
right. Yeah, because what was it? He had commented that Cece went and put a water balloon in his pocket and broke it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Children repeat what they hear from their parents.
That's right.
Right.
And the Lindstroms, I don't know. In my opinion, they are known for their foul language.
Oh yeah.
So you don't know how they talk in private. Like he could have said, or the mom could have said, you know, oh, they're somewhere in a hole, and the kid just picked it up.
True.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. True.
But then you have Fatty saying, "I see them in oil."
Oh my God.
You know. So actually, TJ, what do you think of your fire stick?
Say that again.
What do you think of the fire stick? Because according to Frank, he's got the fire stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let him have it then. He has everything under the sun.
Yeah, but no, what do you think of that whole meeting and everything else?
I don't believe that the meeting ever happened. I just sent you. I don't know if Kim wants to show this one. I just sent you the video.
That 8-minute video.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes, or hold on, how long is it? 8 minutes 27. But this kind of like proves that the fire stick, in my opinion, that meeting never happened.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, yeah.
Okay, this is on your channel, TJ. I know. I watched it earlier. I believe, is that the one I watched, Dave?
The plot. I sent it to your new messenger in case you don't have it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can pull that up. Yeah, it's very interesting. We know. I'll give my opinion on the fire stick real quick. I don't. Well, the explosion, I have that on here on our bullet points. And I know a lot of people believe the explosion and all this kind of things. And the fire stick was to program for this, that, and the other. Personally, and I don't know how you guys up here feel. And if it's not the same as mine, that's cool. But I don't believe the fire stick had anything to do with the murders. I believe Troy was a literal, he jailbroke him. He's a gamer. So he knows how to, do all these kinds of things and hook it to it and do all. So I don't think that the fire stick had any damn thing to do with the murders. And I'm also not one that believes that there was an explosion planned. That's me. And I know a lot of people do believe in the explosion theory. I personally do not.
I do not either.
You don't either?
That fire stick meeting, I mean, in my opinion, he needed a reason to meet up with Troy McCoy. And this is why he said, oh, he's going to look at the fire stick.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Yeah.
He could have done this anytime at work. It's not a big deal to give him the fire stick. And he had it for quite a while because Shanann asked him, do you want the sports channel Sky or whatnot? And he says, I want to see what we can do with that fire stick first before paying. Right. So, and that was
that's what I was just about to say. They could have met up and given that at work. They didn't have to have a secret meeting over a fire stick.
Why meet at the Fort Lupton parking space? Why? It makes absolutely zero sense. Chris was at home. Troy was at home or on his way home from work. So they live only 20 minutes from each other. Why meet at a place that's 40 minutes away for each party? Makes no sense.
It's a good point. Very good point.
I just got a message from Seeking the Truth Dave, and he said the Lindstrom's son said, I picture them in a hole. I don't know why. And
Yeah.
again, as Dave says, definitely not a conversation between kids. So that would have to be a grown-up that said something like that. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Kids
you
pick
know,
up what their parents are saying. So
Yeah.
Let's get to
I
Adrian
always
here
wondered,
real quick.
too.
If y'all want to, this should be a really quick one to run through about the Oxy. He said, what was the truth? I don't know. A lot of people
Depends
says
on who you
Jamie
ask.
gave it to her. Jamie gave him Oxy to give. No, there's no way, because she was sick the first night he got there. After he left the airport, he went straight to the Ruseks. He did not see Jamie.
That's right.
So there's no way Jamie could have given it to him. In my opinion, he brought it from his house.
exactly.
That's my opinion.
Well, he even admitted that. He even was on the record. It was released on YouTube. He said that it was with me. I took it with me on the plane. He even said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Admitted
If you
to
look
it.
at them totes of medicine, when the police with on their body cam, there's some
Yep.
still shots that actually show boxes of Oxy in there. And Shanann had that when she had her neck surgery. But then
Exactly.
again,
Yep.
it never showed up in her autopsy. So I highly doubt it. That's what made her sick. I honestly think she was starting a miscarriage.
I agree. I do agree. Okay,
Even
I'm sorry.
her
Go
one
ahead.
dose of Oxy is not going to make her miscarry.
No.
No, and it would have been out of her system anyway.
It would
in
have
my
been way
opinion.
out of her system by
Yeah.
then anyway.
What's it, 3 days, 3 to 5 days it's out of the system?
On a
Yeah,
heavy, that's on a heavy user. On a
Yeah.
one-time sporadic, it's probably out within a day or two.
On a heavy
Yeah.
dose, they said 3 to 5.
On a
So,
heavy
yeah.
user, though, you have to figure in how much they weigh, how fast they burn
Right.
off how fast they burn everything off. I mean, there's a lot of science that goes into figuring that out.
Mhm.
But
I
on a
actually worked in a
one-time
toxic lab.
dose, it's not going to be in their
Mhm.
system like that.
But she was
Right.
still spotting before Chris got there, though.
If that's true.
Right.
Right.
Take everything with a grain of salt. And
Yeah.
the
Got razor
Oxy,
blades
I
all
mean,
over the house.
Why wouldn't she go to the doctor? I know she told one of her friends that she was out of network, but network doesn't count on emergency room visits.
She hadn't gone to
No.
the doctor from day one of this.
exactly.
But when
She even
immediately,
canceled.
made an appointment immediately after that sonogram.
I would have gone to the doctor first before going to some walk-in sonogram place.
Yeah, but think about it. She made an appointment after going to the sonogram.
True. I know where you're going with that.
You're just saying.
Yeah.
That's true.
I always wondered why, or not why. I always wondered if my personal feeling is that the reason why she was freaking out about the garage door opener and stuff is because she was getting alerts on and off, on and off. I think maybe that's why she was freaking out. But I can't. I don't think that Chris was turning off the system every single time, every single day and stuff. I'm wondering why she wasn't getting alerts on
She was
NK
getting
being there.
alerts. No, because, he was using that mini mouse window in the basement, the fire escape, in order to come and go. That's in the discovery. He even talks about it. And Nate even saw him using the gate going out there. That's when he had the Lexus parked down the street.
Even with the
And-
NK, but she said she came through the garage and she came through the front door. Wasn't Shanann getting alerts on that?
She would have got alerts on that, yes. But see, another thing, what the heck was it? He had taken her off as an administrator off the system, and it sent alert to Shanann, and Shanann phoned him right away saying, "What the hell you doing?" And that's when he started making excuses, saying that it wasn't working right. So no matter what, she knew what the heck was going on most of the time, and that's one of the reasons why he started using the Minnie Mouse, because Shanann would know when he came in, left the house all the time.
Using Minnie Mouse. That sounds bad, Dave.
I am so surprised that she didn't say, hey, Mom, will you watch the girls? Dad, come, let's go on a plane, and I need to figure out what the hell, or just go by herself, ask her parents, what, let the girls stay here. I need to get back to Colorado and figure out what the hell's going on. I'm just surprised she didn't do that. I would have been on a plane quick.
Sandy told her to stay, and she said no, that Chris's insurance was really good. Because I think what was it, $500
No,
a month he was paying for insurance at that time?
She needs to
like at
go
the very beginning of
investigate and find
July.
out for herself what was
Yes.
going on.
Oh, I
When he's
know.
not
Yeah,
answering the phone, and I would have been on a plane like, Mom, Dad, watch the kids, and I wouldn't have said a word, and I would have shown up and been like, what's going on?
We're all women. Deep down, we know when something's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
We know.
Even with her,
You know what? And I also think, because the way she liked to avoid things, like keep a happy front. If I can believe it's happy, it'll be happy. I think that's another reason why she probably didn't go back, because then she would have to face the fact that it's done.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she didn't go back.
even with her
Maybe.
dream though, she never called Shanann. She said, I woke up the whole house and Frankie. Well, who in the heck else was in the house besides Frankie? But the 5 dogs or what? But the whole thing was she never called Shanann, and that'd be the first person I called to see if they were okay. And yet on Dr. Phil, she goes, I knew she was dead then.
But how do we actually know that she did not call her? We have no phone records.
Right, and then you have her, as Frank said, deleting, what was the FaceTime messages? So,
well, FaceTime doesn't show up. So that was a phone call, an actual phone call she deleted.
So why is she deleting stuff off her phone though?
Exactly.
The way I took it, I personally, this is just my opinion. I don't know if this is true. It's just the way I took it when I heard that interview a million times when he was like, she was deleting whatever. I always took it because I have friends that cannot stand old messages, or once they read a message, they'll delete it to keep their phone nice and tidy and clean. That's how I took it. I personally don't think it was malicious where she was deleting anything to hide anything. I think she was deleting just maybe because she, I don't know, doesn't like her phone to get all tied up and stuff. I have friends that do that. They read a message, they delete it. They keep their photos all cleaned up and stuff where they don't have a million photos and stuff like I do, because they can't stand it. I know people that do that, and that's kind of how I took it. I didn't take it as her being sneaky or deleting things. That's just
that's
my
one thing.
opinion.
I
We'll
see
never
that
know.
too, but I do disagree on that, because
Mhm.
when my daughter is missing and they're found dead, right? I do everything I can to help in that investigation. So why would I delete that phone call? And that was the only
Yes, I
phone
agree with
call she
that.
deleted.
Well, that's
Okay.
the same
Well, then
thing.
I got that mixed up. I thought she was deleting stuff before she found out about all
No,
this. Okay.
because that was in the
I
interview
misheard
that they
it.
were coaching him on, because he said, I may have FaceTimed him that day.
He
And then
didn't
all
though.
of a sudden he goes, well, what time did you FaceTime him then?
In the morning when they ate pizza.
Right, but no, he said for dinner around 5 o'clock he usually does it. But that's a lie, because the last known pictures of them at the house alive, they were in their pajamas and they were eating pizza for breakfast. So if he did talk to him, that would have been in the morning and not at night, because there's
How do you figure?
Pardon?
How do you figure
How do I figure what?
that they weren't there? Did I miss something?
You must have.
Everything jumped.
Okay, there's no other known photos of them being alive, other than the ones them eating cold pizza in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Frank says in his interview, I FaceTimed them, and he might have, because
He
he
might
saw
have,
them
yeah.
eating pizza and they were having cold pizza.
Right.
So I'm
But if,
guessing he FaceTimed them in the morning. But the 5 ish PM phone call, that was a phone call.
right. But if you go to the Lindstroms, they're at the Lindstroms, and I think they left. I can't remember. I think it's 4:30 or something. So, and Chris's phone does not connect to the router until 9. So that phone call at 5 o'clock couldn't have happened unless, it was on the road or whatever. It never happened at the house.
Sorry about that, Dave. It did jump in and I got kicked off. So
Okay.
I missed the whole string of your conversation. All I heard was last time. I don't know what I heard. Never mind.
So, yeah. So
I know what you're talking about now.
Pizza at 5 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
So.
No.
No what?
Where's the footage of him coming home from Nate's camera?
Oh, there is nothing.
Exactly.
But again, though, it's like anybody that asks for any footage, say, the 9 o'clock wellness check that they covered up that the police actually attended, but why in the hell didn't they have Chris come to the house like they did earlier or later on the day? In the best interest of the public, they're not going to release that footage. Like, what the heck? Why cover that up other than, they screwed up? They should have had Chris come home and open up the door then.
Best interest of the public.
Do you guys know what Plunder did in order to get that video released of NK?
That he was going to sue them.
Is there any way that would be able to happen again to release anything else, or they're not doing it?
Oh, the whole thing with that is Plunder, she spent her money to get it. She threatened to sue him if she didn't get it. When they did give it to her, my understanding is in the respect, or for the respect of the
family,
they gave it to Frankie, and Frankie went and put it on
and
right away, and they cashed in
time
on that. They got thousands of dollars in super chats for it, and I can't remember. It's over 200,000 views on it, so he's still making money with the commercials. So, meanwhile, she was nice enough to give it to them, but personally, I would have just, looked at it and told her thank you very much and not released it. But no, it was
here again.
Costco.
Why, on what legal basis do they release that to the family first?
Well, that's right.
There is no legal basis to do that.
None.
What if they had said? What if they had said, "No, I don't want this to be public"? But that was another opportunity for them to make money.
That's right.
So they didn't care.
Nope.
If they all about, oh no, this female, she didn't have anything to do with this, and Chris did all of this alone and blah blah, why release it?
Yep.
Why put oil in the fire?
Well, one funny thing about that video too is when they have
you guys excuse me for 1 second, please.
Okay, I know where you're going.
Okay, hon.
But no, one thing about that too is you have Dwayne Cassinger a couple of times speaking up when he wasn't supposed to, and one of the times was, "What about that 9 a.m. thing?" Which would have been the alert that went to Shanann's phone.
Yeah, but he was shut down fast by NK and what's his name? Whatever his name is.
Yeah, by Ali. Well, the whole thing is Ali went and handed her. It was like a flash card. It wasn't a business card. It was a flash card, and she read out on that, and they both had a giggle. That well, we're doing Sunday more or less. We'll get back to that later, and they never did. They shut him down so he would not talk about the 9 o'clock. And why is that? That's because they didn't want anybody to know that there was a 9 o'clock wellness check. As Nate said in the driveway, they were banging on the windows and doors and nobody answered. So why cover that up too? And then with NA, when she's in her interview, with that call too, that was a 911 call and they transferred it over. So either way, Dave turned around. He convinced the dispatcher that, it might not have happened. But they could have found out right away just by going to the call logs to say, oh, yeah, here it is. Because that would have been recorded either way. And they didn't do that either. It was another cover up.
And there was no video, no cam footage released of any of the other neighbor stuff. There was no cameras released of Anadarko. There was no cameras released at the McDonald's or the roads, highway, nothing. Nothing was released.
Or the restaurant.
Or the restaurant, nothing. And it's just like, why? Why is that not being released? So if you can release her, if you're going to finally release the visual of her interview, why can't you release the the visual of at the restaurant or any of the neighbor stuff or anything like that, what difference would it make now? Why can't
Well,
we
it
see
took
that?
6 months just to get the footage of Shanann coming home.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then he said he wasn't going to release anything else. Well, why is that? Is that because
Yeah.
somebody else like NK comes through the front door? Because that 111-minute phone call too, I really do believe that NK was talking to Chris from her house. She got into her Forerunner and drove over to his house. And once she got there, his phone disconnected from the router again for about 10 minutes. And then it reconnected again.
Mm-hmm.
And he never talked to her or texted her or nothing after that. And then even with
What do you
Chris,
think
he
about the
said
lights being on in the garage?
that
The
was
cops
that's
showed
another
up. They
thing
kept
too,
coming
right?
on. It was like the second or third time they had to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
That
Nate
creeped
got
me
all this
out. That
stuff
creeped me out
on
so bad when I saw
video.
that.
Why are they not releasing all that stuff? Like, because he says, yeah, I got the lady going in the house. That was the one in September. And yet they never showed
Mm-hmm.
that. And then the only
Right.
thing
And
that
then they,
linked Chris to 319 was a photograph of his laptop because NK told him to take a picture of his laptop, more or less to prove he was there. And yet they didn't
mm-hmm.
show the picture in Discovery.
Right. When it
So what do you
very,
do with
very,
that?
very first came out, I saw that photo and then it was gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a lot of stuff was gone and replaced with letters from women talking to Chris.
Yeah.
Dave, you have a question up on the board here.
Oh, I'm sorry. One thing I'd like to do is thank everybody that has come tonight and for being so polite, and being kind in the chat. It's just
Yeah.
excellent. It's been a long time since we've had an open discussion like this, and it's a really, really, really nice change.
Isn't it though? And to see all the what's all in OGs, man, they just all came out of the forest and they're all out here with us. It's awesome.
Where's the question?
It's on the board here. It says, Dave, could you please clarify the comment of the R's lying? I just can't think of what they would have to gain.
Money.
There's your question, honey.
It's
Run with
nothing
it.
but money. The whole thing. You figure out, let's see, the second day after the girls went missing, there was a GoFundMe, and it reached its goal. It passed its goal. They ended up doing a PayPal for anybody else that wanted to donate money, and it was underneath Sandy's name. And at that time, she was going underneath her maiden name. She wasn't going by Rusick. And the last total that we ever heard was $169,000. And the whole thing was is to bring the girls home. It was not to bring the Rusicks to Colorado. It was to bring the girls home. It had right on there, right? So why didn't Sandy hop on a plane? Like, they got 169 grand, like, yet what is it? You don't see her until it's time to clean out the house in September, and then she comes back for the sentencing.
I thought only Frank was there to clean out the house.
No, it says Frank. I posted it. It said Frank and Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy said
family.
she donated like 80-90% of the house.
Yeah, that didn't happen either because they went and they loaded up this truck, this semi, and they took it all back to North Carolina and they put it in a consignment store. And a lot of that stuff was actually online too, so you could view it online, but it's all gone now. Everything has disappeared. You can still see the messages where the shop was that consigned it, so, and there is that $500 engagement dress that Sandy sold of Shanann's, that was Arnold that got more or less cut ties with them because they said they were going to donate this stuff, and here they were trying to sell Shanann's undergarments. Like, what the hell, like, is that crazy or what,
I'm sorry, but that's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
That's true, that's disgusting.
Ugh.
Well, it is. And then you have Ronnie. What the heck was it? They had to fight to get her or his grandma's urn and ashes back. They wouldn't give it back. And when he did get stuff back, what was it? Some jerseys, trophies, I think some tools. I can't remember. but I didn't hear too many mentions of clothing.
No, it wasn't much clothing. It was
no,
he had
because
a garbage bag full, and it had his trophies, some of his jerseys, and really that's about it. And it was all put into a trash bag and threw out in David Cologne's front yard.
yeah,
And then David Cologne took it to North Carolina to give to Frank and Sandy because he was going to pay his respects at the funeral. So
right.
he took it to Frank and Sandy. But the Ruseks just put it in this trash bag and just, from what I was told, threw it out in his front yard. Just threw it there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And what bothers me too is like
Cindy told me that.
You have the Ruseks. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing anybody or anything like that. It really bothers me because you have Cindy and Ronnie there. They had to go to the courts to apply to be victims, and yet right off the bat, NK is a victim, so she got all these rights in that they didn't get, And same with the Ruseks. They got paid. I don't know why they got paid for loss of wages because. You got Sandy that came out to clean out the house, and then she was there for sentencing. Why would she get paid? I'm sorry. That they got the victims of our crimes against victims there for Colorado. They paid for airfares. They paid for food, lodging, the funeral. And then you got Laval turned around. They paid for the funeral plus the monument. So, and it's like this. Like I go back to the second day after they were missing. The $169,000 when it closed, that GoFundMe. Okay, like what happened to that money? Because they didn't donate anything, not even the clothing, nothing. It's like Cindy asked for some keepsakes of the girls, and like I don't think they got anything. I really don't. And yet you have Gabby Pasino there. The second day after they found her, her parents started up the Gabby Foundation, a nonprofit for women, people against there I go again. See, my PTSD just kicked in. Holy
DV.
Yeah,
domestic violence.
Yes, and like they're donating money like crazy to different places, and like it's being all the money they make is being all accounted for. Yet you have these GoFundMe's going. One went for a lawyer and it closed, and people ask what happened to the money, and next thing you know, Junior's driving a truck, and then he starts up another one. This is the one that was supposed to go for AD for the UK, and all of a sudden people started complaining because of the first one he had. So then they shut it down and did a crowd justice GoFundMe this time, and that's what's sitting there now. And then during that, you had like over 100 channels, YouTube channels that were great supporters, and like they were advertising the heck, for all these GoFundMe's for the Ruseks. And then one, like a full-time supporter, asked Sandy how it was going with the lawyers, and she told her to F off. And that was more or less that cut their throat, because all these, what do you want to call them? Shiner channels, they drop them like a hot potato, because they give them almost 2 months to panel up and tell them what's going on with the money, where's the money going, and all this and that. Because you had Frankie again, he was doing these GoFundMe's. They had one where it was a meet and greet supposed to be in Vegas, and they paid for his they were going to pay for his airline tickets, and he said, well, he didn't want to fly, he wanted to drive. So they were raising money for him to drive there, and then he said his truck broke down. So then they paid for him to get his truck fixed, and then he didn't show up. So who was that? Molly Golightly. She ended up having to pay these people their money back. So I'm sorry. I'm not bashing anybody. It's just, it bugs me that you have one family over that are supposed to be grieving, but yet, they're out there with a cup in one hand and their other hand is in your back pocket, still in your wallet. Well, you have the Watts are scrimping and having to sell stuff to go see Chris. I'm sorry, Chris is still alive and they can visit him, But then you have the Rusiks again saying, Ronnie, we appreciate it if you don't go to the funeral and you don't go to the gravesite. Like, what's up with that too? The Watts did not do anything to harm them girls or Shanann. It was Chris. So why take it out on them? I'm sorry, I better shut up before I get you in trouble. Somebody else can talk.
And also, Cassie Rosenberg, she hasn't been selling Thrive for a very, very long time. She's actually doing a different MLM or of some sort, and I haven't seen her on any of NAs or anything like that. And yeah, she stopped selling Thrive, I think over a year ago. And I haven't seen any posts from her or nothing like that. So like I said, I don't know who NA's friends are or Christina's or anything like that, but I just found that weird. She was all about it. And then it wasn't not even a year and a half after Shanann died and stuff, she stopped doing it.
I think she's really grieving because in the end of the day, she's the real true hero. She convinced NA to go over to that house. She was saying, you live there, just go over and check on her. It wasn't NA.
Well, this is just an assumption. I don't know if it's true, but I'm thinking because Cassie did do the Friends Speak episode with Nate, and NA said in one of her lives that she was offered to do this show and do that. She said, I'm not doing this or trying to gain money like some people. So I only am assuming maybe she got mad that Cassie did do it and got paid for it. I don't know. And then fell off and stopped doing the Thrive thing. I mean, like I said, I don't know. But I just found that kind of odd when I heard one of her lives saying, I was offered to do these shows. I didn't think it was right to gain money off of my friend's death, like some people. Yet Cassie did that show and Nate did the show when the Friends Speak or whatever. So I don't know. I just kind of put 2 and 2 together again. I don't know if that's what happened. They could still be friends and she's just not doing Thrive anymore. I don't know. But I just kind of found that odd considering it seemed like Cassie Rosenberg was really into doing Thrive. Maybe she stopped it because it was too painful and it reminded her too much of Shanann. I don't know.
Sorry to interrupt. I was wondering if TJ had her whiteboard ready because I would really, 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 really like to welcome Megan to the panel. It's been a long, long, long time. I really missed you, girl.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Welcome, Megan.
Thanks for having me.
Now, nobody has been around long enough to know Megan. She has her own theories on what happened. And I swear to God, I don't know how many times since this has happened that if I had her phone number, I would have called her and said that she's right because so many things point to she is right. But then you have other things, you turn another page and go, well, maybe she's not right,
Right. So, yeah.
But I'll let you take it there. TJ, did you want to ask her any questions before Megan takes the... Okay.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
Nice
How are
to
you?
meet you.
You too.
I have I gotta be honest, I did not follow your channel that much. And I have a different opinion, but I have one question. You think so? Your theory is that this all did not happen and this is a psyop, right?
Correct.
Okay. So my question is, if that really did not happen and everything is a psyop, how do you explain, or what's your theory on Chris being in prison and about the parents, the Rusiks, the Watts? Do you think they know about this? Or how do you explain the Watts family visiting him in prison? And do you think he's living somewhere outside and it's completely kept secret from his parents? Or what's your overall theory on this?
Great questions. I am going to try to do my best to answer that. I don't have all the answers when it comes to my theory. I wish I did. But as far as him being in prison, you have to think, have you or has anybody actually seen him in prison? No. And now the parents say they've visited him in prison, but how do we know? Like, how do you know that? And I know it's hard for people sometimes to grasp that, but I mean, unless you have physically seen him in prison, then how do you actually really know? And that's just like, and I know, like I said, again, that's might be difficult for some people, but in reality, you don't know. We're just going by what we've been told, and or by what the law enforcement said and what the news have said. As far as the families being involved, I've thought about this a lot, and it's very well possible that the Watts don't know, but I, in my personal opinion, believe that they do. The Ruseks fully well know, because they are a huge part of one of the motives behind it. So, and as far as where Chris is, I don't know, but I don't believe he's in prison. He's not listed, and again,
you cannot find him, can you? I mean, even with the connections I've got, you can't find him. And I do find that very odd.
Huh. But I was sent from Ronnie, actually, when they visited him in prison, a photo with him. And yeah, I don't know. I just can, as far as we don't know if he's in prison or nobody has seen him in prison. I mean,
he's definitely not on the roster. He's not. I mean, Megan is 100% right. And trust me, I've got some connections, and he's not.
And that's just one aspect of it. There's I mean, over 4.5 years. I don't even know, what is it now? Maybe 5 now. Of just research that I've done, that you guys have all done. That's where it's so complicated that just him not being able to prove that he's in prison is just one small, very tiny piece of what my theory is about. So,
what is your theory about NK?
NK is one of those, pawns on the on the board. She's I don't want to call them actresses or actors, but that's what they usually are in these events. So I guess maybe I should probably go back to the beginning a little bit, and I'm going to try not to I'm going to try to put it in Cliff's Notes kind of for everybody.
Just put it out there, girl.
But, girl, share
Somebody
it.
drop Megan's link down below and red X's.
I know at the beginning of the live, you asked everybody how they started following the case or whatever. So as far as that goes for me, I actually went on a trip with my mom to Colorado and to visit some of her good friends, and just happened to be sitting in the living room hanging out, and my mom's friend turned on Dr. Phil, and I see Chris there, idiot that he is, and I'm going, oh, dude, this guy's so guilty. I mean, come on. And I'm fully believing the whole narrative. The first thing I did, I went home and I got on YouTube. I think that just like a lot of other people did. And I just started, I don't remember what video was the one that I watched first, but I just remember watching the footage of him, coming out of the house and loading the truck, and all the body cam footage. And I was just infatuated. I just wanted to see more. And but then, after a while, I just started to notice things that just didn't add up. I'm like, why is there so much body cam footage? Why is everything documented? Why so soon after are we getting this footage released? Just little things like that. And then it was another thing and another thing. And I started to see these same characteristics that I've noticed in other psyops or orchestrated events that that are not necessarily true crime cases, because I didn't even fathom me that they would try to fabricate homicide cases. But to me, it makes sense now. But I'm talking about other cases, school shootings and just other things like that. But
can you give an example of, can you give an example on, you say you see the same people in other cases. So
Not the same people, same characteristics.
Oh, same.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll be it gains widespread media attention within days. You'll have a case that's quickly closed. Nothing adds up. You have the symbolism, which I won't go into tonight because that's just a whole other thing. But it's a huge deal with it. But I'm not going to go there. There's a lot, and I've covered them so many times on my channel. But
you have a good video on your channel of symbolism, because I watched it on one of your lives.
Thank you. But I just started to notice, like I said, these just certain characteristics that I've seen in others, and I go, maybe I need to look at more into this, because maybe this is not what we're being told it is. And and so like 4.5 years later or whatever, there I am, like, I'm reading the discovery like everybody else, and I saw the American Horror Story footage come on, and I said, maybe there's a reason why that American Story trailer came on the TV. Like, I just had this feeling, and so what I went and I started watching American Horror Story. Sure enough, there's all of these like connections, all of these things that match up with the case. Like, for instance, I'll give you one that literally like blew my mind, and where I was like, yep, there's no way that what they're telling us is factual. And that was a part in American Horror Story where it's an asylum, and the German doctor that's in there, he's a psycho, and there's a character that comes in, and he's going to do some tests on her or whatever, and she starts to accuse him of being this German doctor that was in Nazi concentration camps, yada yada yada. And he says, it is so funny, he says, he's like, he goes, I'm not from Auschwitz, I'm from Scottsdale. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what? And we know that Shanann went to Scottsdale, Arizona, right? For her trip, Phoenix, and then to Scottsdale for the Thrive convention. So
Yes.
the only
Right.
Scottsdale in the world, there's no Scottsdale City, there's no Scottsdale Village, no Scottsdale Town. The only Scottsdale in the world is Scottsdale, Arizona. And it was named after the guy that founded it. So, and that's just one of the connections in American Horror Story. I have video after video after video. How is it possible that with all the other ones that this, happens to be a line, and just, oh, I'm not from Germany, I'm from Scottsdale. Like, out of all of the things, and then that was one of the things, the American Horror, like, just there's so much information when it comes to my theory that it's hard to to do it all in one sitting. But so there, like I said, there was just certain things that I started to notice, and just one after another, and until I was finally convinced that this case is not real. And I know I don't want to like offend anybody. I know
we appreciate
I always try to look out for people's feelings. I know that so many people have been affected by this case emotionally, and that's why I'm not here to hurt anyone. I'm actually here to
give your opinion
and help people, because I don't want people to keep falling for these lies that they're telling us. And another thing is, or another question that I get a lot is, well, like, how could they get away with this? Why would they do this? The reason why they can get away with something like this is because there's a bill that was passed. It's called the Smith Modernization Act of 1948. So when that came out, that actually prevented the U.S. government and the mainstream media to push propaganda on U.S. soil. It was only meant to be used on foreign soil. Well, in 2012, Obama actually reversed that and made it the Smith Modernization Act of 2012, to where now the mainstream media and the U.S. government can legally lie to us and push propaganda, sway the opinions of us with no repercussions. So they can literally make up any news story they want to, whether it be about, like, I always use this example, like a cat in a little town with a cat being in a Christmas sweater that got abducted by aliens. Whatever, that's ridiculous. But they can literally lie about something as small as that, or all the way something up to like 9/11.
Yeah, there's a lot. You remember I was talking to you about 9/11. Remember, you and my son have the exact same thought about that, So yeah.
And
Now we're
9/11
gonna
was a huge,
talk.
it was a huge
Y'all are
eye
gonna
opener for
talk.
me.
Yeah, y'all are
So
gonna talk. He's the same way. I want to thank Rowan very much for the extra support to the channel. We truly appreciate it. But here we're talking about there was a lot of insurance. There was a lot of insurance, wasn't there? Like it was I heard a quote of 675. But either way, there was a lot of insurance, there was a lot of money passing hands. Do you think this money actually passed hands, Megan, or?
are you talking about the $600,000 man thing?
Yeah, just all this money that has went around with this case. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It's been a lot, damn close to $1 million,
It would be over
Any of these
$1 million.
cases, there's
yeah,
going to be
over.
several people or companies that are going to gain financially, and by a lot. Like you have Lavelle, who had a ton of publicity in this case. I mean, you couldn't look, turn one way without hearing thrive, Lavelle, thrive. Like, it's and not NK, but NA is wearing 2 patches on her on the body cam footage, and then you got the even NK's talking about it, and even though she's talking about it negatively, saying, oh, it was like crack, it kept Chris up, yada yada, like people are still subconsciously going to go to Lavelle, and they're going to go to the website and they're going to check it out because they're going to be like, oh, I want to check it out, what's this all about. It's just Thrive benefited so much off of this case, and that's just one entity or whatever company that gained from it.
Well, that's the same as the front doorbell cam too. You were talking. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've heard from you. Really missed you, but
Yeah,
you were talking about how all these companies were affiliated because they're like more or less, what do you want to call them, sub companies of other companies, all owned by the same people.
Subsidiaries.
Yeah, subsidiary. Thank you.
Yes, Blackstone, I believe, if I can remember, because it's been a while, is or Ring is owned by Blackstone. Blackstone and 20th Century Fox, which also airs American Horror Story, all have shares with Anadarko. So it all leads back to one another. They're all they're all making money in a lot of it. So, and then of course,
like I said, you did some pretty awesome lives explaining all that. Do you still have those videos from the American Horror Story? Because
I do. I still have.
Those are really worth checking out and going and looking at what she's talking about, because it's like, whoa.
Yeah, she's got them really
You
detailed.
will see, it will make you look at things a little differently. I mean, it opens your eyes to a different opinion. And like we said, we're all of different opinions up here. Not all 6 of us have the exact same opinion of what went down.
Exactly.
Didn't they have the same names too of the characters in the Watts as they do in the video?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So Zephyr Hill says, where are the girls and where is Shanann?
Okay, so that's the question that I get a lot. If I knew where they were, that would be amazing, and I would.
You'd be rich.
Yeah, right. I don't know where they're at. Like, for example, as far as like NK goes, something that I noticed with another case was the Las Vegas shooting, and I don't want to get into that either because that's very sensitive to a lot of people, especially shootings. But I saw exactly what happened with NK happen to the mistress of Stephen Paddock. She should have been investigated. She was not. She did not give any interviews. No friends came out and said, hey, I know her, or anybody, or enemies, or anything. She dropped off the face of the earth. And that was that. And I go, that's weird, because I've literally that just happened with the Las Vegas shooting. And now this is happening to this NK person, why are they so similar? And then again, that was just another one of those things where I just kept seeing the same patterns over and over again with certain things. And of course, they're going to be a little bit different because, you know, one's a mass shooting and one's a homicide case. But, you know, they're still using the same characteristics throughout these certain events. Now, I also want to point out that, like, do I think that every single case is not real? Or do I, you know, I get those kind of trolls that are like, well, what do you think? Death's not real or murder's not real? Of course, I don't think that, but I have to say it because people will come out and accuse me of saying that I don't think that. But I don't think that every case is orchestrated, but there are certain ones that make it to this mainstream, you know, like whatever, and they do gain that widespread media attention, and I believe that's done for a reason.
You also have Shanann too, where nobody identified her except for Sandy on the phone, and she never had an open casket for her funeral. You know, they didn't do an actual time of death. And then you have them pulling out one of the girls and saying it's an adolescent. Then you have Chris saying which girl was in which tank, but yet they pull out one that has pull-ups and ask which one was wearing diapers. You know, so, and then you actually have the girls in 3 different places wearing 3 different kinds of clothing. So I could see in your sense, like this is a bunch of crap made up, you know? So, and then if you go back to, say, the autopsies, usually 60, 80 pages or more. And yeah, what do we get? Like 8 to 13 pages or something stupid like that?
That's a very small autopsy. I think Whitney Houston's was like 44 pages or something.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. I mean, maybe it's a little bit different, but you'd think that they would, I mean, I didn't see any dental records. I didn't see them or anything like that. Because as far as I'm concerned, with a homicide case, they have to do a full Y incision, like the entire draining of the fluids, everything, and we just didn't see that. And so they only show us what they want us to see. You know, what supports their narrative.
Like with Nico, they should have shown that too, the results of that. That should have been public. That shouldn't have been pushed underneath the, you know, the counter unless they had something to hide. You know, and it was like, what was it? You have Rourke and his clowns flying to North Carolina to visit with the Rusiks, and then for 3 days, right? And then all of a sudden you have this plea agreement where the medical records are sealed, you know? And it's like, I actually found one, I went and posted where Chris had signed it saying that he wanted them sealed, but Chris doesn't remember ever having them, like wanting them sealed. There was no reason for it.
Thank you, Surviving the Storms. Guys, she says, this is great how people with different opinions can finally speak like adults. The Watts case is the only case where we weren't able to ask the hard questions.
True, and y'all go check out Dorothy's channel as well. She's very, you know, she's unbiased too. She speaks it. She's a straight shooter, and yeah, y'all go check out her channel as well.
Oh, I didn't realize that was Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy.
Yeah, very nice lady.
And why is it with this case? Why is it with this case that we've had, you know, we had so much more information released than other cases, but yet we have so many more unanswered questions? Like, to me, it should be, you know, with the amount of information released, it should be open and shut. We shouldn't be sitting here, you know, almost 5 years later going, what the frick happened in this case? And we're going back and forth. And like, it doesn't make any sense. And you're going to find all these these things that don't add up and all these discrepancies in these cases, because no you know, even if it's orchestrated ahead of time, nothing's perfect. You know, you're going to have certain obstacles that get in their way, or, you know, someone's going to mess up to where they're going to have to cover up that narrative again. And I'm sure we've seen it happen several times. I know I saw someone in chat say, how could so many people be involved and not say anything? I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, they could sign non-disclosure agreements if they say anything. Also, not as many people have to be involved as you would think. The less the people that know and that are involved, the better. So, like, let's say, for instance, the officers that were handing out the pamphlets when Shanann and the girls were missing, right? They don't need to know. They would they would go to work, and their superior would say, hey, there's a missing woman and her children. I need you to go around to this neighborhood, and I need you to pass out these flyers. They should just be simply doing their job. They don't have to know. Like, not as many people have to know to make something like that work. Do you know what I mean?
See, that's another reason why we've been doing Watch Wednesdays. It's like this last one that we did it was pretty eye-opening. The next one we're having next Wednesday is going to be, some people say blow your socks off, but it just shows how many lies the Rusiks actually fed us. And with it too, we have the proof, because you got them saying it in chats and stuff like that. Plus you have them saying it live on an interview. So it's not misinformation we're giving out. We're not out to do anything to anybody else or anything like that, pick on anybody. It's what they actually said. So misinformation, it's not that, it's actual lies. So that's the problem with this whole thing. Everybody's covering up for everybody else. And it's like NK, Troy McCoy, they had to have had some kind of agreement with the FBI not to say a damn thing. So I don't know. It's a wait and see thing, I guess. But we'll see how many people we can piss off on next Wednesday.
Yeah. And there's other reasons too as to why people wouldn't speak out. Like, maybe there's a lot of the detectives or officers in the Frederick Police Department that maybe they know, but are they going to speak up and say something and lose their job that they've had for like 10, 15 years, or maybe they're too scared. Maybe they're scared to speak out for fear of their, people calling them crazy, conspiracy theory, or whatever. There's just, people are so quick to jump and say that nobody would speak out, or that somebody would speak out and say something. Like, no, they wouldn't. There's many reasons why they wouldn't.
Is you got Tammy Lee, after Chris said that, what was it? I did to her what she did to the girls. Tammy Lee said, what, strangled them? And he said, yes. Okay. So then he always said that Shanann killed the girls. So when they were booking him, like booking Chris, Tammy Lee left, went home. Her and her husband went and got on a Facebook group, and she went in there and said, Chris confessed to killing everybody.
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's the head of CBI now in Colorado. So somebody like that.
I'm sure a few of them got promotions.
Yeah, she should have been kicking rocks. Because if that ever went to court, that all would have been thrown out because he wouldn't have got a fair trial. But then again, if you go back to like the DNA and everything else being destroyed, I truly believe, because they were out there at 319 picking up stuff and moving stuff around without a search warrant, everything's contaminated. They couldn't use it.
That's another characteristic to look out for, to answer TJ's question, is when evidence is destroyed or goes missing. You had the Anadarko truck that was sold off just almost immediately after the tainted crime scene, like you're saying. Just a lot of missing information, and like you said earlier too, the filler. There's a lot of filler with those letters that women wrote to Chris in prison. Why is that relevant? Why do we need 36 pages of letters from women that wrote to Chris in prison? It has nothing to do with the investigation itself, but it's just a bunch of filler.
Yeah. Even Sandy's letter had nothing to do with the case, really. It was all about past things, way past.
You can tell with Sandy, too, that letter that she wrote to Dave, I truly believe that was Sandy that wrote that letter, okay? And then when she wrote the one for the victim's impact statement, I truly believe that she had Rourke or one of Rourke's assistants write that letter for her, because it was two different people completely on both of them statements. And well, hell, even on the first one that she did, she spelled her name wrong.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Sorry, I'm going to mute again. Also, the behavior from the Rusiks is a huge red flag, and another eye opener for me, because you have and again, people or not again, but people deal with death differently and tragedy differently. We all know that, but the behavior, and I've heard so many people say it, not just me, that it's their behavior is bizarre. Like they totally contradict themselves, and they say, and again, I'm not talking bad about anybody, but I'm just gonna, point out what I see. Just like
it's
Dave
okay,
said,
Megan.
I don't want to.
I have a banner running down here. We got a
Okay,
disclaimer,
I know.
so
I'm
you
just always
just
worried about it
let.
because I just,
I know.
you know,
I am too. I had a comment the other day. Stop apologizing.
believe it or not, I do care. Like, I'm not here to just like
Right.
totally.
I know
But
you do.
they, they say stop talking about the case. You can not talk about the case, and then they, and then they insert themselves into, or well, not only. Okay, let me rewind there. They say don't talk about the case, but then they were the ones that actually posted the funeral live. Is that from what I remember? It's been so long. They posted it live on Facebook,
Yes.
I think. Okay, so
Yes.
they go on Dr. Phil. So here they are publicizing this case themselves, but then they're turning around and saying that we're not allowed to talk about the case, which is completely false because we're allowed to talk about a highly publicized case because it's made public. And so they stream the funeral, they go on Dr. Phil, and then they're like, oh, we've been getting death threats, and which there's no proof of. We've been harassed, this and that. And, but then they go and they insert themselves into, or not only do they not stay away from social media, but they insert themselves into the true crime community. Because you remember those few months, right? Where they were like moderators for like the advocates for them. So it's like, oh, you're trying so hard to stay away from social media, but like you're doing the exact opposite of what you just said. You're literally inserted yourself into a true crime, like, community, where that's all we do is talk about the death of these, people or whatever, these victims. And so why do they keep contradicting themselves? Like, if you really wanted to stay away from social media, you wouldn't insert yourself into it. And not only that, but they caused conflict between, the anti-Resex or anti-Watts or we're pro this, we're pro whatever. Like, they're there for doing that for a reason, and they kept doing it. And then, and that made me think again. I'm like, why do they keep contradicting themselves? Why aren't they staying away from social media? Why do they say don't talk about the case, but then we're going to go and do a Netflix special, or Frankie's going to post NK's interview, or Frankie posts his FBI interview? Like, you're going to post your interview on your channel of your own sister's death? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But nobody wants to call them out on it because they are quote unquote victims. Now, even if, I believe that this case was 100% real, and I believe the narrative, I would still call out the Rusex. Just because they're victims, it doesn't mean that they're allowed to sit there and contradict themselves and boss people around and say, you can't do this and you can't do that. And not be called out on it. It doesn't matter.
So classy. I always thought it was really classy how the Frederick Police Department put a plaque up in front of the police department saying how they solved the Watts case. Right? I always thought that was really classy.
Yeah, did a great job of it too.
Yeah.
But
who does that?
Good question. But then they went on this other channel, the bigger channel, which I won't mention, but and they went on her channel and they were like, Frank Sr. goes, oh, if you want to know what really happened with Dirty South, then you can come to my channel and I'll tell you all the answers. And I'm like, so you literally, what happened every time the Rusex came back and showed their faces? It started the case up again. Right when it started to die down, they would rear their heads and it, boom, the case is open. Like, oh my God, it's back. Frank Sr. is going to tell us what happened really with Dirty South. Like, I thought you said you didn't want us to talk about the case anymore. This is what happens every time you guys show your faces back on social media. It stirs up the case again. Like, and
did you know that they were back on the news not that long ago?
I haven't.
Yeah, Frank went to the house and sat down inside the house with Denver 7 and done another interview saying that all of the the drama or whatever it was out here is going to cause them to commit to themselves, unalive themselves. That was recently. I mean, no, not recent. What was it, y'all? Like 6 months ago or something?
Yeah, it was last summer.
Yeah, it was kind of like, whoa. I mean, they continue to bring the case up, but yet they want people. I don't know.
Well, honestly,
You know what I mean?
they said they have to keep the case alive in order for them to do their GoFundMes. I'm serious. This is what they talk about inside the lives, and inside chats and stuff like that. It's not me making this stuff up. It's all there, So it's like once it starts quieting down again, it's like poking a bear with a stick. People might forget,
Yeah. And where's all the lawyers that Frankie Jr. was trying to get, these donations for? What has anything ever become of that? No.
Well, that's one thing. The 2 months straight, they were trying to get him to panel up. There was over 100 channels well over 100 channels that were on that live, and they were saying, Frankie, get on panel. Let us know what you did with the money. Where is the money going to? What's going on with the lawyer? He had 2 months where he was supposed to come up and give everybody a notification of what's going on, right? And nothing happened. So then they called the bluff, and then what was it? One lady, she was a supporter, and she asked Sandy, well, what's going on with the lawyer? And Sandy told her F off, and that was it. That they cut the ties.
Yeah, I got blocked when I asked Frank Sr. if or what happened to the money that they got from that Facebook. I don't know what it's called on Facebook, but it's like the GoFundMe of on Facebook. Yeah, like right for plane tickets to Colorado. I was like, ooh, 160 or whatever, the exact amount, 160,000 something for plane tickets.
$169,000. Yeah,
that's a pricey plane ticket. But
you figure out the contents of the house, and then Leonard King, Shanann's ex-husband, said, I'm not sure because it's got listed at 250 and then dash 500,000. So I don't know if it's between 250,000 and 500,000 is what her life insurance was, or if there was actually two separate insurance policies. But that automatically would have went to the Rusiks. So, and then you remember with Shanann too, with all her parties that she was having in her vision boards, she wanted to hit 200K so that her and Chris could retire and then help her mom and dad and his mom and dad so that they could retire. Well, when she passed away, the Thrive community pulled together and they actually got Shanann to the 200K mark, and then they gifted it to Sandy. So there's that photo of Sandy with I say it's a smirk on her face at the Thrive, meeting. But people said, no, it's just a different way that people grieve. But I don't know. To me, it looks like a smile, though. But after that, you really don't see Sandy too often anywhere. She didn't show up for the night vigil, too, here in Colorado. Frankie and Frank was there, but Sandy wasn't, so.
Yeah.
And then even with the Thrive, when they presented it, too, like they had a big thing at Thrive convention to present the 200K. Frank and Frankie was there, but again, you don't see Sandy. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's hard for me too to mention again the when they inserted themselves in the community, when I'm seeing comments, and I've talked about this a lot on my streams. I see comments from all of them making fun of other channel creators. These are victims. They're claiming to be victims and talking about how they've been harassed and death threats, but then they're literally turning around and mocking people who they don't know what they've been through in their life. They could have, it's just complete hypocrisy, and the fact that so many people don't call them out on it because they're so-called victims is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So
the one that blew me away was the live, what was that, Kelly the Advocate's channel, where what the heck was it? Frankie and Sandy was there, and I'm sorry, they were both loaded. And Sandy told Kelly that she could call herself Shanann because Shanann came out of her womb. And it's like, what? What did you just say? And yeah, it's like, that's kind of weird. That's not grieving or anything like that. That's just like, what the heck is it, right? And there's been so many moments like that where the videos are gone now. People have, burnt them or whatever, but they're hidden. And it's stuff that they paid to scrub the internet just to get their image back, but it's too late for that.
Yep. And did you notice too, I don't remember when it started happening, but I think it was when, and I'm pretty sure that Kim got a lot of these, but she got hit, and some other people and myself as well. But they started to give strikes for certain things in the discovery. And that's when we started noticing that a lot of the information from the discovery it was already redacted a lot in the beginning, but then the information that we got from the redacted discovery was being redacted again. Well, that's the same thing that I noticed happening in the Las Vegas shooting. And just, I know that somebody commented that they were there. I'm not implying that nobody died in the Las Vegas shooting, because there are events that are different. I can't remember who mentioned it in the chat. It might, forgive me, but somebody did mention it. And there's different psyops. There's ones where people do actually die, but then there's also ones that are completely 100% fabricated. And it's a lot easier for those ones because you don't have actual family members in law enforcement's faces give it like, why is my family not here? And a good example of that is 9/11 with the firemen wives. Like, they made such a big hassle about it. Like, they just kept pressing for information. Why are our husbands no longer here? We want answers. Well, then you have this case, and it's like, why aren't the Ruseks doing the same thing? It's very, very bizarre behavior. Like, why are they so convinced when all of us and so many people are going, why do we have so many unanswered questions? Why does nothing add up? Why does nothing make sense? Why is what's going on? Like, no, the Ruseks are 100 completely satisfied at the fact that the law enforcement did such a great job. But how could they think that, right? Why aren't they demanding why aren't they at Rourke's store demanding answers as to why Shanann and the girls are no longer here? Yet they're too busy on social media causing conflict and chaos in the true crime community. And that is for a reason. And for that reason, it's to, in my opinion, they want to take away free speech. And any of these orchestrated events, there's always multiple motives behind it. So, and it's going to obviously vary from each event, but that's one of the motives. Like, and that's why too, do you remember when Frank Sr. he had to fly to Colorado to do that whole news thing in front of the Watts home, and the interviewer, or not the interviewer, but the journalist said, why did you feel the need that you had to fly all the way out here? And he's like, because I just had to, but did he really? And he sat there and he said that, and he started pointing fingers at these big companies like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and saying that they weren't doing what they needed to do in order to stop this harassment that they were getting. So they're using this tactic, and that they're pointing fingers here and saying, and putting blame on YouTube, so that people will go, yeah, YouTube, yeah, Twitter, so-and-so, Facebook, like, you need to stop this. You need to stop this harassment from happening. And in a nutshell, that's taking away free speech. That's why Frankie Jr. is always going, yeah, I'm going to take AD down, and I'm going to take this person down for talking about a highly publicized case. Like, you can't sue someone for talking about a public case like this. But they're trying to make that happen. And it's already happening. I know a lot of people don't realize it, but in other communities on social media, the free speech is, the whole Twitter thing as well. They're taking away free speech, and it might not be tomorrow, it might not be a year from now, but like, first maybe it's the Watts case, maybe it's the Petito case, or whatever, but it's going to happen, and people are going to wake up one day and they're going to go to your channel, Kim, and they're going to like realize that they can't even talk about these these true crime cases anymore, and they're gonna, and they're gonna be the ones that are like that push for it and go, yeah, stop this harassment, thinking that they're actually doing something good, when in reality they're just pretty much asking to get their rights taken away.
Oh yeah, I mean, in YouTube, and I know as a creator, everybody up here knows as a creator, most everybody here is, that YouTube within the last few weeks has really came down on us about profanity. Like something as simple as profanity, they're hitting you. I mean, they're knocking the hell out of you for just having cursing, in your videos, your live streams. I mean, and in a sense, if you don't get carried away with your language, that's freedom of speech as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, no, I don't know if you've looked at those new rules, but they're pretty stiff.
I haven't streamed for a while on YouTube, so.
Yes, and I'm disappointed.
I know, and I do miss it. It started to be an echo chamber, and I felt like it was the same. But my channel wasn't really growing all that much, and I appreciate all of my my subscribers that were there all the time. But they're the ones that they already know, they're aware of kind of what's going on, and so it just felt like it was an echo chamber, and it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I did just as much research as anybody else in this case, so it's just hours and hours, and but and if people in chat, if you want to look up any of this information, look up section 230 about free speech, look up the Smith Modernization Act of 2012. It's real, it's there, you can find information on it, on this all of this that I'm telling you. Again, I don't have all the answers. I don't know where Shanann and the girls are. I don't know where Chris is. As far as I know, like I said, I don't believe that he's in prison, because why should I? There's nothing that proves that he's in prison. We're always, with these cases, we're just believing pretty much what we're told by law enforcement and the mainstream media.
Well, he's literally one of the only, and I've talked to his parents and everything, but I'm still like, why isn't he listed? I don't get it. And people tries to say, well, it's just because it's such a high profile case. No, there's a lot of high profile cases, and you can find them.
Yeah. So why would mainstream media tell us where he is then? If they did that, wouldn't that defeat the whole purpose?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah.
So, Dave, TJ, one of y'all want to answer Dorothy here? I'm going to go fix me a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
First of all, thank you, Megan.
Oh, yep.
For explaining it all.
And again, there's a lot more to it than that. But
I'm definitely gonna check out your channel now. You made me curious. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that this is a psyop, I gotta be honest, but I'm open to everything, so I definitely gonna check out your channel. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
As far as the Ruseks go, honestly, I don't care. I really, truly do not care about this family whatsoever. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I just don't care about them. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how much money they make. It's always like people give what they want to give to them. What I have a problem with is putting out GoFundMes and stuff under a false narrative. Like you guys said, taking AD down for having his opinion and stuff. So, these people and their subscribers and the main public, they feel for these people because they think they're victims.
Right.
But they are not digging into that deep into this case to find all the little things, like the thousands of dollars they have, the hundreds of GoFundMes they had go in and stuff like that. So me personally, I believe if people want to give money, they are free to do that, not under a false narrative though. As far as, and I gotta say this here, back then I do believe that the family, especially not so much Frankie and Frank, but to me, Sandra Rusek is suspicious.
Very.
And not suspicious because I think she has anything to do with the disappearance or even the murder of her daughter. But I think she's suspicious because she's acting suspicious. And that makes her, to me, a suspect, right? So back then, when we, Don, Dave, and I were on the panel, we said we raised awareness of these things. We raised awareness of the behavior of the family, and that was like 2 years ago. And we got bashed so bad, like, leave the family alone. Oh my God, you think she murdered her daughter? No, that wasn't what we were saying, right? We were saying, look at the behavior, calling the school, the numerous phone calls she had with Chris Watts, without the knowledge of Shanann, the numerous phone calls on Sunday. He calls Cody, I'm going out to Survey. Calls, it's almost like a back and forth. Yeah, he calls Cody, then calls Sandra, then texts Cody, then calls Sandra. And it's like you see in and this is all based on the discovery. We're not making this up, right? So you see, if you watch the timeline of death I put up on my channel, it's like you see almost a pattern. So I'll give you one example. He's calling, or he's having a phone call with Sandra. Next thing he does, he looks up the Aspen hotel they were staying the week after. Then he calls her again. So I'm asking myself, what was the content of this conversation that makes him react like he does? Right? If that makes sense. So anyways, we were bashed pretty badly. We were saying, people were saying, oh, you think they have something to do with this? Shame on you. They are victims, blah, blah, blah. It was only recently, like I would say 2 or 3 months, that people start to wake up. And ever since then, they got pretty quiet on social media. Why is that? Why do creators have to listen to people saying, or even strike their channels, or that stuff what you said about freedom of speech, Megan? Why is that? And this is the same with your theory, let's say, and conspiracy theorists kind of like thing. I give you a little example. It has nothing to do with this case, but back when COVID hit us, right? They all were running to go the vaccine. Okay, everybody's free to do whatever they want to do with their body, right? So they went there to get the vaccine, and they basically singled out everyone who didn't have the vaccine, right? So they in my country, for example, people got shot for telling other people, please wear your mask, right? And back then it was like almost you're a criminal if you don't wear your mask, and neighbors were calling the police on you and stuff like that went down. So, and now it's all over the news. Oh, sorry, we were wrong, and the vaccine does cause health problems. The vaccine does cause people to die, this and that, and now they're standing there apologizing to people for being singled out from the government, right? And I mean, it's a weird example to bring, but
no, yeah,
it's if you get what I'm saying, and this is the same with the family. Back then they were all saying, oh, they're victims, leave them alone, poor family, blah, blah, blah. And then you unearth all these things, you unearth the documents, you show people patterns of that something is not right here. And they now all start to wake up. And I hope they continue to do. And I hope people, we all have to save our money, the gas, electric, food, everything is so expensive. And I just feel for these people who still give them money and say to a supporter, F off. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's one that's giving them lots of money.
I think I even saw, actually, I don't think I know. I saw Sandy post a comment on someone's video, and it was one of those creators who just would post the girl, like the home videos over and over again. Like, you know, it isn't like dedication to the family or memory to the family. Like, and she said, don't post pictures, or not pictures, but videos of my family anymore. I'm like, wait, what? Like, it wasn't even like someone like my channel or anything that's going against the narrative. Like, they were literally just posting videos of Shannon and the girls. And she's like, don't post videos of my family anymore. I'm like, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why they went after AD, is because they wanted the money he was making off of their family.
Yeah, same reason why they released that NK interview. Like I said, if you don't want people to go after that woman, just don't show it.
Exactly.
Because, you know,
hey, real quick, guys. Ara, Kim is going to give you the link when she gets back. She's not at her computer right now. So I just sent her a text and she said she'll drop it when she gets back. Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. That leads into the whole thing about saying about them contradicting themselves. It's just hypocrisy after contradiction over and over, but yet nobody's calling them out for it, or not a lot of people anyways, because they're victims. And but to me, being a victim doesn't give you an excuse to behave that way.
Well, that's why with Sandy, she said that they're her property, and that she has the right to say and do whatever she wants. So
not only that, I do remember back then in 2018, in also my Facebook group, people were making T-shirts. People were making like just little things like a bow or something like that in purple to support Shanann and to support the family. And then Sandra came up with a post on her own. I'm blocked ever since. But she came up with a post of her own, and I screenshotted it and I have it on my hard drive. And if I get the chance, I'm going to show this to you. And she said on her Facebook profile, she said, nobody is making money of my daughter's death. And if you want to make money, or if you want to make T-shirts and bows and stuff like that, you have to ask me, and all the money, you have to give me all the money you're making. And people were like commenting.
I saw that.
You know that, you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So people were commenting underneath, like, how can you do this? We're just trying to help you out. And, you know, we're just trying to
get awareness out there. Nobody was making money.
Yeah, and stuff like that, you know. And then after that, she deleted that. She did probably not expect the backlash she's getting.
No, she didn't.
So yeah, but that shows you early on in 2018 that this was all about money all the time. You know, when Lauren Arnold asked her, you know, is there anything I can do? The first thing Sandra said to her, get a search party and a GoFundMe together. That were her exact words on a Facebook post. And I actually have that too, screenshotted. So what the hell? I'm a mom too. Yeah, everybody is thinking differently, and everybody is grieving differently, and everybody is acting differently in certain situations. But if I'm a mom and care about my kids so much, first thing I would do is I would blow up her phone with calling. I would call all her friends. You know, if people say, you know, your child is missing, call everyone. Call police if necessary. And then next thing I would do, get on a plane, go there and look for her myself. Because Sandra told us, like, or on her channel publicly, that she knew that Chris was weird and that they were in trouble and blah, 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 right? Their marriage was not good anymore. So with that, knowing that, There must be something going on. So why does my daughter react like that? Not responding to her friends. So, you know, it's basically a mom's instinct to something ain't right here. So, and if I couldn't afford a plane ticket, or then I would hop on in my car and drive. And if I know my daughter's in danger, especially with her saying, I feel like he put them in oil and stuff, I would friggin' walk if necessary.
Right.
She did none of this. None. And that brings me to another thing. When the crime scene was shut down and stuff, yeah, all they wanted, you know, I can just say I'm a mom too. You know, if something like this happens to my daughter, I would be there. You know, I would go through the house looking for clues. Did she leave anything? Did she leave a letter? Are there any indications of what happened? No. What did she do? She asked for her suitcase. So what was in that suitcase that she wanted so bad? Her makeup bag? Are you kidding me? You know, and this is what's in my head. What was in that suitcase that was the only thing they asked for? Yeah. You know, I would have asked for a teddy bear that was
weird
on one of the kids' beds. I would have asked for, you know,
something sentimental.
Yeah, something, you know, I can cling on to or smell, or you know what I mean. I mean, okay, you can smell
their scent. Yeah, I know. We get what you. Yeah.
Suitcase? Why? I don't get it.
That's a good question. That's weird.
And then how long did it take Sandy to fly out? What was it like? Remind me again. To Colorado?
End of September when they cleaned out the house.
Yeah, so over a month.
August.
Yeah, and then that September lady thing, you know.
Yeah, it was a week before the September. No.
Yeah.
A week after the September lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would she say that the lady entering the house was someone of Chris's defense team? That makes zero sense. What sense would that make? First of all, why would that lady hide from police? Why wouldn't she come forward to police saying, you know what, I entered the house because we had some evidence or whatever? There's absolutely no reason for someone of the defense team entering the house and then disappearing and keep it secret.
And are we talking about the woman that people think is a ghost? Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry, I had to step away.
It was the one in a black SUV.
In a black van.
Driving around.
Oh, yeah.
Really
and of course, Nate's footage wasn't released, right? Well, oh, yeah, I've got footage. You guys mentioned that earlier. Yeah.
And then law enforcement is stupid too. You know, when Officer Lyons approached Nate, he says, his exact words were, I have her on camera. And I did request that based on what Nate said on the body cam. And they told me, like Weld County told me, they don't have that footage because they never got it from him.
Did you file a FOIA request?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity? Okay.
Yeah. And a lady got back to me and she said, well, we would release that or give it to you, but we never, she's looking in the archive, but they never actually got that video. So I'm like, what is that? And what's that investigation like? I mean, you have somebody unlawfully entering the house that is a crime scene, basically, you know, or you know, collect evidence and stuff. So, and you and this neighbor is saying, I have her on camera, and you don't ask him for the footage? Give me a break.
Yeah.
So, no.
I agree.
I'd like to thank everybody in the chat again. Everybody is just being so kind and thoughtful, and absolutely zero cussing, which is really, 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 really impressive. Thank you very, very much. And Sizzle,
hi, Ara.
Silva, thank you very much for your support.
Hi, y'all. I'm sorry I'm really late.
Ara.
How are
It's
you guys
okay.
doing?
Good.
Good. Man, Megan, it's been a second.
I know, right?
Yeah, but you were right what you were saying, that it was the same people coming back, and you were consistent in what you were saying, and all the research that you did, and like crisis acting and those situations are real.
Yeah.
People prove that stuff all the time. They'll find the same actor, in one situation, and then they'll find them again in the next one.
Well,
Yeah.
just like I'm not going to name which shooting it was, but there was a shooting where the principal was photographed, and then in another incident, that same principal was used as a runner in that incident.
Yeah, I know which one
I
you're
like to
talking about.
recycle names too. Shanann Watts was also a what do you call it? A activist for gun control after the one that won't be mentioned because it's
Right.
like cannot go there on YouTube. And also lived in Colorado. So Shanann Watts, I know. But yeah, it's they do. they really do. And it's the thing is a lot of people they're not gonna they have to do the research themselves. Like I can only give the information
Yeah,
that
you can
I've
only give
learned.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only give so much, and I can only just tell what I've learned over the years. But like I was going to mention earlier, like 9/11 was a huge eye opener for me. Like before that, I believed everything on the news or whatever, pretty much. Like I didn't think like why would you think that the mainstream media would lie to us, or why would you think that the government isn't 100% fully there to protect us and help us? Like why would anybody think that, right? But like when I started seeing indiscrepancies with 9/11, that's what made me want to go out and get the information myself and search for it. But back then it was a lot more accessible because there wasn't so much scrubbing of the internet. It's
Right.
very, very hard to find this information that I'm, that I tell my viewers because it's gone. And one of the, not people, but organizations responsible for that is the Honor Network. And that's who the Ruseks were working with. So the Honor, don't let it fool you as far as that goes. But yeah, they did a lot of scrubbing of one of those specific shootings. So
I remember YouTube was a place, maybe I want to say 10 years ago. It was a place where you could look up conspiracy stuff, and like there are a bunch of videos. And now it's being cleaned out so much. Like people cannot share the same type of information or ideas. And I mean, people did research and they would show the receipts. And now it's very difficult to find that stuff anymore.
Oh, and that just actually made me think of something that I want to mention earlier. If for just any advice that I can give, if you're watching any of these true crime channels or anybody for that matter that's saying this is what this is facts, like ask for proof of what they're saying, ask for links, ask for some sort of receipts, like Ara said.
Amen.
And if they
Amen, girl.
and if they get mad or if they don't want to provide those, then that should be a huge red flag to you, because a lot of my videos I provided links of my sources, and I wanted to make it easier for my viewers to go and just click on it and find the information that I'm saying so that they can vet it, because a lot of people don't have time to do that. They don't have time to do research like I do, or some other people might be able to do. So leaving sources not only shows that I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass, excuse me, but like here's the information. If you want it, here it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I mean, if you show
yeah.
the receipt and they're still attacking you, well, then they don't need to take it up with you. They need to take it up with Weld, Frederick, or whoever wrote the report. You're just giving the information out there. And I completely agree. Dave shows the proof and they still attack him.
Yep.
And that bigger channel that you guys talked about earlier that I won't mention is one of those. And that's a reason why I don't go to that channel anymore, because I would go against their opinions and I would say, well, I don't agree. And can you show proof of what you're saying? Because you're claiming it's factual. And I got blocked or banned. So, and that was a huge red flag to me. And I never went back, even though I was banned anyways. But if I could, I wouldn't. So I just, It's so, and that's like my motto, and I know it sounds like cliche, but it's like, do your own research and like literally think for yourself, and don't believe anyone. Like, ask questions. That's so important. Like, if anybody comes to my channel and they ask questions, please ask questions. I welcome questions. I don't know if I can answer all of them, but I would never like turn anybody away or ban them from my channel for simply asking questions, or for opinions or comments that went against my opinions or my narrative, or no, or, well, theory.
Right.
So, I mean, I can't stress enough to just ask questions.
Well, see, and I don't know if, and you're right. And see, this was this was my middle ground. I thought this whole thing wasn't just because a man wanted to be with his mistress. And then he unfortunately decided to eliminate his entire, I think there was more. I think the debt, and then all the evidence that, the way that I interpret it, like the picture of the explosion in whose messages, what was it? His coworker. Man, I haven't said these names in a while. When he was texting his coworker back and forth.
Well, Troy went and sent that to Chris.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like there was some planning there, and then the boots, right? There was, I feel like there was a plan to get Shanann out there, and then that, that rig was gonna go anyway, and it was gonna be a way for them to get out of debt and the family to be gone all in one. And NK was, a safety person. I mean, to me, it's plausible because people do that all the time. They eliminate their family members for insurance a lot. Or they'll burn down their business to get the insurance money. I mean, it's something that happens. And NK was not a good influence, so that's why I kind of go down that rabbit hole.
I really don't think the girls were supposed to be in on this. I think it was just supposed to be Shanann. But if you look at Cece's autopsy, like, they don't know how she died. It just say she may. It didn't say she did die from, asphyxiation or anything like that. She may have. And her lung was consistent to an overdose from chloroform. So to me, it's almost like, they had the nebulizers inside the laundry rooms on the first day when they were going through the house to take a look. And then when they did the canine search, they were gone out of the room completely. So I don't know. And if you have Bella there, she had burns, chemical burns on the upper part of her face. And if it's put into a nebulizer as a steam, you're not going to get a burn. But if you put it on a rag, or if it's actually you pour it on your skin, then you're going to get a burn, a chemical burn from it. So I don't know. I'm not sure at all.
Thank you so much, Sizzle Silva, for the super sticker.
Silva,
Truly
yeah.
appreciate the extra support to the channel.
Same thing with Stephen Paddock in the Las Vegas shooting. Very short autopsy. Lots of indiscrepancies. They said he had like brown eyes when he had like green or whatever, vice versa. There's just so many errors that it's like, and I'm like, weird. Why am I seeing the same autopsy again? Same things with the autopsy. It just certain things like that. But yeah.
And again, thank you. Very much appreciated.
TJ had a question about what the heck was it? Troy McCoy. She's still there?
I don't know. I haven't heard her. Yeah, she's there. Go ahead.
Did you want to talk about Troy McCoy?
Sure.
Because like a lot of people didn't know that explosion that they were just talking about, he was actually working for Anadarko there at the time. And then he transferred to Colorado afterwards. And that's when NK got the job. And it was a temporary position only. Same thing when she lost her position. There was 11 other people that lost their position at the same time. So nobody was fired. They were just let go because their terms were up. But go ahead.
Well, it wasn't really a question I had. I was just thinking about that video I sent to you.
Oh, yeah. I thought she was going to play it.
Yeah, just whenever y'all are ready. I can
Okay,
already
sure,
got it
whenever
up.
you're ready.
I got it up. TJ, you want to say what it is and kind of explain to them what they're looking for if you need to while I'm pulling this up?
Well, it's just so you guys can see the discrepancies in their statements. And first and foremost, Troy McCoy's statement. And what I did is I just put everything together, and it doesn't make any sense what he is saying. Yeah, but in this little video, I think it clears some things up about the fire stick meeting that, in my opinion, was only an excuse. Yeah.
I actually have to hop down because I'm headed to a friend's, but I'll be in chat because I do want to see this.
Well,
But I
thank
just
you
wanted to
very,
say
very,
thank you.
very
Yep,
much,
of
Megan.
course.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
For having
Megan.
me. I
We're
really
so
appreciate
glad
it.
to see you.
And
course, thank
Megan,
you.
start doing some more videos,
Yes,
girl.
please.
I will.
You need to.
What was
Thank you for
what was the
thank
last
you.
case that just happened? I can't remember.
Murdoch?
Not Murdoch. What was the other one?
The Idaho
To
War?
Idaho 4?
Yeah, I started seeing a lot of the same things that I saw in these other cases. But I
Really?
was just like, I don't know if I want to go down a rabbit hole again. It's just so much research. And so
Oh God, it
but
is.
if I see another one that's that prominent in those characteristics, I'll do it for sure.
Sounds good.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Right. Thank you for
Okay,
having
honey.
me. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Bye,
being
everyone.
Bye, Megan.
See ya.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay.
Before you play it, I just want to say this.
Uh-huh.
I do believe that this was planned, right? I do not believe that Chris is innocent whatsoever. But yeah, with this little video, I think it makes sense that I believe that they planned this, or he planned this, for a long time.
Okay, guys, here we go. Listen closely, y'all, because this is very interesting. Oh, yeah, and drop TJ's link as well, please.
Start with on Sunday. So Sunday would be the 12th.
Yes.
Did you talk to
No,
Chris
sir.
at all on the
I didn't
12th?
speak to him over the weekend. I seen him on Friday.
Seen him on Friday. So that was the last
Yes,
time
sir.
you saw him before the
Monday.
work week.
Yes.
Okay.
I seen him on Friday, and he'd taken off Friday to take Shanann to the airport for Phoenix.
Okay.
And then he told me he wanted me to look at his fire stick that he bought. I said, okay. So
like TV fire stick?
Yeah,
okay.
Amazon fire stick.
Sure.
So before the workday ended on Friday, he's told me that he'd meet me at the Safeway parking lot there in Fort Lupton. And he showed up in their Lexus, and Bella and Cece were in the back seat. So he jumped out, gave me the fire stick, and right after he gave me the fire stick, that's whenever Cody called. Cody Roberts, the operator of the Survey 319, and said that he thought there was a leak in the bypass line.
And that's on 319, you said?
Yes, the Survey 319.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because that bypass line is now locked and tagged out because we done that one anymore.
Okay, so Bella
and Cece.
Or Cece.
Yeah.
Cece were in the back seat.
Yes, sir.
And was Shanann?
No, sir.
Was she in the front
taken
seat?
her to the airport.
You already took her there?
Yes.
Do you remember what time this was?
I look back to my text messages I gave you because he told me he was sitting by the 5.0. There was an orange Mustang sitting in the parking lot.
Okay.
I think it was one of the ladies that it looked just like the one I used to have. Okay. Because I had a red one. I was telling you about that earlier. Yeah. So, and he's a huge Ford guy because he was a master mechanic.
Yeah, I remember he said something about that.
Sorry.
No problem.
This was. Okay. Thanks. Forward your link. You just sent it there. Okay, right here. It's at 3:05.
Okay.
Just whenever he sent me the text message. Here, park next to the orange 5.0.
Okay.
So.
And he's driving the white Lexus?
Yes, sir. and Bill and CC were both in the back. They were buckled up in their car seat, and he had pulled forward in the parking spot, and I pulled back here, and he was talking to me for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes, and you could hear him hollering in there. So he got back in the Lexus and he backed it up so they could see me, and they waved at me and everything like that.
Okay. All right. And so you have no text conversation, no phone conversation, nothing like that over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday?
No, sir. Nothing.
Okay. Was Chris scheduled to go to 319 that morning?
He told me on Friday, whenever we spoke with Cody, because he was right there, because I took the call on Bluetooth because I was parked in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he found out about the leak, he said, I'll go out and look at that thing first thing Monday morning.
Chris said he was going to go out first thing Monday morning.
First thing Monday morning.
And take a look at the 319.
Yes, sir. To try to verify that whether or not that line was leaking or not. And I believe he called Cody, and when I talked to Cody, he called Cody on Friday or Sunday at 5 p.m. and told him that he was going to head out to survey first thing Monday morning. Whenever Cody Roberts called me the last time, because I called him and asked him how it was going, and then he called me again whenever I was in the parking lot on Friday of that week, was at 3:13 p.m. Whenever Cody Roberts called me and identified that there was a leak out at Survey Ranch, or at least at the time he suspected that there was a leak.
Okay.
And I told him, don't worry about it, dude. It's Friday, we'll double check it on Monday. We can go out there on Monday morning and verify. And that's whenever Chris said, I'll go out there on Monday morning. Yeah. So
is he usually one to volunteer for something like that?
Yeah, usually he is. I mean, he's really good about doing that stuff.
He called me on Sunday. I missed the call and he texted me saying he was going to go out there first thing in the morning. He called me about 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon and then followed it up with a text letting me know.
So what was the text on Sunday?
I have the wood checks for the Survey 629. I'm going to go straight out there from my house in the morning. I will look at that 319, the one that had the stain around it.
I don't think I went back that far.
Yeah. No, I just was surprised that he called me on Sunday. I mean,
escape to Discovery Cove. Let the rest of the world disappear as you dip below the surface and lose yourself in Orlando's all-inclusive paradise. Capacity is always limited, so
I didn't know I was going to go out there until he called me. I didn't know anything about the wood checks needing installed on that Survey Federal 629. That's not to say he didn't discuss it with Luke or Chad or Troy or anything like that. But I wasn't aware of it, which is also fairly normal.
Check.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That was really good.
I completely agree. Something stinks, lady.
Big time.
Yeah, because I was thinking, Cody says in his interview he wasn't aware of Chris going out there Monday morning. But Troy says he was there when he spoke to Cody, and then he offered to go out there first thing Monday morning. And Cody responded to that offer with, "Oh, okay." It makes no sense.
And to let a leak wait till Monday, see, that always got to me. It's like, no. Because they had already had those explosions. I mean, something like that should be done immediately. And they have PRN workers there that are going to come in at any time on call to fix things like this, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I always thought it was very odd that there's like, oh, no big deal. It can wait. No, things like that can't wait.
Exactly. And one other thing is, this wasn't the area Chris Watts was working at. Usually. He had the Fort Lupton area to work at the oil field. And previously, he only visited the Survey 319 once. And that was in June or July. So for Troy McCoy saying, oh, yeah, he does that. He volunteers to go out there to fix things. That's actually not true. And NK, to be honest, she says that too. It's not usual for him. He's offering help, but it's not usual for him to get into other areas other than the ones he's working at.
Yeah, because
Cody says the same thing. It's not usual. The only one who says, oh, yeah, that's pretty much normal, that he's all over the place, is Troy McCoy.
Right. And 319 was not, and I said was not Chris's oil site at all. That was Troy McCoy's.
Right.
And what was it, 2 months prior, Troy had told Chris that they were going to decommission it and tear everything down?
No, that was public knowledge. According to the documents, they wanted to dry out and abandon Survey 319 first time in 2000, then in 2005, and then again in 2009, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So they compared what are we selling, what is the oil rig producing, what are we selling, and it was just not good anymore, or it didn't make any money anymore. So, and they knew that, they knew that Survey 319 was supposed to be abandoned. So that might be explaining why he chose that to get rid of the bodies.
That and Cody Roberts actually lived in the basement of Troy McCoy. So with these phone calls that he's talking about, like what's going on there? Because if Troy's in the basement, McCoy's upstairs, Cody's in the basement, Troy's upstairs, why in the hell would he be phoning him? Makes
exactly.
No sense.
And another thing is, he calls, he had that call with Sandra, and after that, he's texting Cody right after.
Right.
But we know, according to his data and router, that he wasn't at home when he sent those messages or took or made that phone call to Sandra.
Hi, Purple Butterfly.
Hi, Purple Butterfly. Yeah, I think we've hit on almost all of the bullet points. There's a few that was left premeditated. And I think we've actually even hit on that. Trent and Amanda. Dave actually put this one on there. Trent and Amanda.
Oh, yeah. What are your thoughts there, TJ?
Oh, God, why always me?
Because you're a troublemaker. You did too.
I personally think they were hired to come in and kind of take the heat off NK. That's me. What do you think?
Possibly. Back in 2018, I believe that was in September, I interviewed Trent Bolt. And at that time, I couldn't tell. Like I said, I have an open mind to everything and every opinion and every theory that's out there. But what got me the most is that, and I only knew that after the fact and all the documentaries or the discovery files were released, that this guy actually told me things that nobody could have known. About Shanann, about the girls, about Chris. So for everyone who's saying he's a liar and he is, not telling the truth and inserted himself, I see why people think that. But with the knowledge I have on what he told me, I think it could have been very well be the truth. And then on the other hand, I think the same as you, Kim. Maybe he was brought in to say that, But then on the other hand, I'm thinking, who gave him the information? And information like that and stuff like real personal stuff he told me, he must have had his information from a person of the inner circle of the family.
Yeah, I was really, Trent's really kind of took me backwards a little bit, especially with his mom even getting involved, And, I mean, she even gave an interview. But what threw me off with Trent the most was that in his police interview, he was wrong on so much. He was wrong on what truck Chris drove. He said Chris was wearing overalls. It was at night when he would go visit Trent. Like, we know Shanann's not going to let him go out at night and just, not show. I mean, it was so much that he put out there in his interview. Now, I don't know what he's saying now. I'd like to hear that. Is it on your channel?
No, I never publicized it.
Okay. Because what he said in his police interview, it was just absolutely not believable.
Yeah, see, and this is what I was thinking, and I was quite surprised. Why doesn't he just say everything or tell people everything or the police everything that he told me? It's almost like he got cold feet.
Yeah,
right?
And
I mean, another thing was.
Thank you so much, Gregory. We really appreciate the support to the channel.
Thank you, Gregory. Another thing that was in my mind was, I totally lost what I wanted to say.
And Jody, thank you as well earlier, hon. I'm sorry. I missed it. Just saw that. Thank you.
Yeah, I can make a video about it. Anyways, he told me back then that he was basically, they effed him over, especially Ashley Banfield, because she got into his family and then she was paying for wrong information and stuff like that. And back then I couldn't talk about it because there was a lawsuit pending. And Trent actually, and I saw the documents, he actually got a restraining order. So she wasn't to contact him or his family members in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
Right? So she was telling his ex-boyfriend, I believe, record him and get him to say something so I can publicize that. And shortly after that, and the restraining order and all that stuff, she lost her job. Right? So there must be something that is truth to this.
Yeah, but God, do you think he was told to say all these things that were just completely, there's no way,
I don't know. I'm torn.
It just, honestly, me too.
I honestly don't know, but when I saw his interview for the first time, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, really. It's like, there's no way this is
Why?
true, dude.
Right? So, but with the things he told me in September, I believe, it was almost like somebody must have told him things to say, if that makes sense. I do not believe that he had an affair with Chris Watts, right?
Yeah, I
but
don't either.
It was, he knew too much of their personal life and the behavior of Shanann and what the kids were like and about their upbringing and stuff like that. So I was thinking, man, you gotta, somebody must have told you this.
Is it stuff that was already out here? Like
No,
that we
it
already
wasn't.
know?
It was only in September. Like at the beginning of September it was. I gotta look it up.
Was it Charlotte that he was related to?
What's that?
Was it Charlotte that he was related to? You know, NK's girlfriend, Charlotte?
No, Danielle is a cousin of his.
Oh, Danielle was a cousin. Okay.
Yes.
That's friends with NK.
Yes.
And then you have Amanda McMahon that actually worked with Sandy at
but that's
a hair salon.
About Amanda, that's all I know. I have no opinion about her whatsoever. All I know is that she was working with and I didn't even dig into this. She was working with NA in the hair salon at the time where Sandra worked there as well. So me putting two and two together, it's really strange. It's almost like those people were put into place to say something to throw law enforcement off something else.
That's what I think.
Or were they actually put there to break up Shanann and Chris?
That's
and it did happen.
thing, yeah. Because
it's like you send in one clown, nothing happened. You send a second, nothing happened. And then all of a sudden you have NK and it happened.
Right. And then her saying, Amanda, that girl Amanda, saying he tried to strangle me or, he had his hands around my throat. It's too much of a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, she said those things when the autopsy wasn't released yet. So nobody knew what she actually died of.
Right.
Well, I mean, we still don't technically. I mean, there's two causes of death.
Yeah, that's true.
There's two causes of death for her, and there's really not any cause of death for Celeste.
Yeah, and in the written notes of the medical examiner, it also states, and Dawn found that by mistake, it states probable cause of death. So they are not even sure.
Exactly, yeah.
One thing about with that probable cause of death for Shanann, with her bleeding out the way she did, I would say that's how she died. Because if she was strangled, her heart's not beating, so she couldn't have bled out then. It had to have been done while she was alive still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So the unlawful termination of a pregnancy, the cause of Shanann's death, plain and simple. And she would have just, passed out or fallen asleep, and that would have been the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her body would have went into shock, and Okay, we talked about September Lady too. What about the red car? Is anybody? I mean, I just wrote them down here,
I honest to God think the red car, all it was a reflection of Chris Watts' truck taillights. What do you think, TJ?
Nah. No red car. You can see clearly it's brake lights of Chris's truck reflecting on Betty.
Yeah, I've literally
not on Betty, but on her car.
I've never put anything into that red car, but I did put it as a point here because there's a lot of people out there. It's all about that red car, but I don't see nothing about the red car. Now, the gray truck, different story. I think there is something behind the gray truck that Betty was talking about. That I do. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You know, Betty, she knows what's going on in that neighborhood. Now, what I don't get is why don't we see any of that gray truck on Nate's camera? Because you know we had the footage. We seen the footages, but he only showed that one, or we only saw that one, right? Of her walking, of Chris back in the truck. Yeah, that's all we saw. But we did see where it was recording, you know, and the different times and all that. So, you know, that gray truck would have been on that, on Nate's camera footage. It would have been.
Not necessarily if it was parked.
Well, yeah, that's
Betty's
true.
house.
That's true. And there again, I mean, that's true. That could be why Chris wanted to know exactly, you know, what angle and what his cameras could get as far as to where to park that gray truck. You know, I mean, NK said on July the 14th that she sat in her truck for a long time and they text back and forth, right? Why didn't Nate say that?
Well, that's the day of the fight, wasn't it?
It is.
Okay, well, yeah, because Nate said that they used to fight all the time. And then he retracted that because he found out that Shanann was inside North Carolina when that fight took place. So the only one he could have been fighting with was NK that day. Because Chris said I had to talk her off the ledge. And I think that day is the day that, remember, Dieter took her upstairs to show her the house. And I think she actually saw Shanann's ultrasound on the dresser there, and that's why she freaked out.
Well,
Dieter's one hospitable dog.
Boy.
Yeah, it was either the ultrasound or she said she was messing with Chris's phone, and that is the same time that Shanann sent that baby outfit to Chris, the photo.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so maybe Chris never even saw that photo. Maybe NK had his phone when that photo came through, and that's what pissed her off. You know, why is she saying here's a new outfit for baby Watts? And if you'll remember, she went straight into, or Chris said, she went straight into, I want to give you your first son. Why in the hell would she do all that on that day if she didn't see first baby boy Watts' outfit?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can look at the photo Shanann text or posted, the time. Well, that's lines up with the time that NK was there. Supposedly, what was she doing? Sitting on the floor, messing with
wet
his
carpet.
phone? Yeah. So was she holding the phone when that photo came through? You know,
might have been when she was working on that calorie counter app thingy.
Right. And she freaked out like, what? I want to give you your first son, you know? I mean, obviously speculation, but when you go through the timeline, the photos, when they were posted, when they were taken, it damn sure lines up with when NK was holding his phone. And what was he doing? Cooking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, I do believe that she was living on their Facebook pages. I never believed for a second that she had no social media and nothing. No, not true. I don't believe it.
Oh, no.
Especially she looked them up, like, you know, and then during all the events, she from time to time was searching Google for Shanann's Facebook, Chris Watts' Facebook, you know, so she definitely knew.
Well, that day that she went and looked up, I think it was Shanann, that was the day of the vision party. And Shanann actually had a video of the vision party of all the people that were there. But that, I don't know what happened to that. That video is gone. All's left is pictures of the vision party now. But that was the same day that she looked them up.
Right. Purple. I'm sorry, y'all. My birds get to waking up. But Purple. Do I think NK was part of the military? Yeah, I totally do. And we also found proof that her dad is absolutely involved with the military in some way. We'll be showing that pretty soon, but we got that proof, don't we, Dave?
Yeah. Well, we got lots of stuff coming up in the next 3 weeks for what's Wednesdays. Some of it we'll probably have to wear a bulletproof vest for a week or so afterwards, but
Oh boy.
they'll be subscriber onlys because we don't want how would you put it, anybody in the chat coming in and interfering with the stuff that we want to present. And it's not stuff we're making up because it's stuff that they're saying. Plus, we have the receipts to show that they actually had printed it too. So it's a lot of stuff that they actually paid to scrub the internet, but it's still there if you want to look for it. But you have to go other accesses and go to the courthouse and stuff like that in order to get it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's there. If you live in the counties, you can walk right in the courthouse and get it, But I think it's probably going to be hard to find on the internet. I don't know. But it won't be because we're going to show you.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that I was able to get when I first came out, it all disappeared because I didn't change the name of it in the folders. I just, stuck it there. But then I've been looking since, and it says right on there that it has been removed. The content has been removed, but the heading's still there. And then they have a link that you can click onto about it, and all it does is give the various reasons why, but it's because it was scrubbed off the internet.
That definitely means it's scrubbed. If you can see like the header or when you Google it, but you click on it's not there, that definitely means it was scrubbed or deleted. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was one there with what the heck was it? One criminal and I think it was 11 or 12 traffic offenses for Shanann. All it is a blank folder now. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, does anybody in the chat have any questions? Good Lord, we've been here a while.
Yeah, 277 in chat. There should be a couple of questions there.
Yeah. It's been a great live. Y'all know.
I thank everybody for being so kind and respectful.
Yeah, especially this big talking about this case and not really have any issues. Wow.
Well, the biggest thing is we have proof of everything we're saying. And if it's something like we're not sure about, we're actually saying, in my opinion. So.
Right.
And we welcome all opinions as long as everybody's being respectful and,
yeah,
everything's good.
It's been a great live. TJ, really, thank you so much for coming up on the panel.
Oh,
thank you, TJ.
Really appreciate it. This was really an unplanned live. Me and Dave just talking about it. What's Wednesday? And we're like, why not? It's probably going to go crazy, but we'll try it. And it turned out really well.
The unplanned ones are the best ones.
I've noticed.
Did you see Safe House just popped up?
Huh?
Safe House, NK Safe House. Remember during her interview with law enforcement?
Who says that?
Yeah, she said, they asked, she said she's going to be bombarded with press and all this other crap. And he asked if she had someplace to go. And she said, yeah, I have a safe house. It's an apartment in Denver. And I get my mail there, but nobody lives there. So that should be safe there.
Jim owns an apartment in Denver.
Yes, he does, yeah. But this one here, she said she gets her mail there. But another thing is, too, at the same time, she's got that house, a $400,000 house in her name, and then she's got her dream job and her nest of an apartment where what the heck is it? Where she hosts people, so.
Well, she called her apartment too her safe place at one point, but she didn't say safe house.
No,
remember?
It's her safe nest.
Yeah, because she wouldn't get her mail there. It was just very awkward, and then after all this, she just disappears. Like she just ghosts, and nobody from her past really comes out except one person saying, what was it? She tried to stab someone or something, but I mean, no school friends, it's just, that don't really happen.
Well, I found them pictures of her old teacher. They were in Yellowstone, and they had a fire. Everybody sitting around drinking beer and stuff like that. I'm surprised none of them have come out and said anything too.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it's like the Lundströms. They come out. They were standing on soapboxes, wanted to be recognized, and because we probably got the last known pictures of them alive, and they should do a movie on them.
Right. Gregory says, do you believe that law enforcement is still running interference for NK?
Oh, definitely.
I think they're
big.
I don't know. You answer that, Dave.
Well, the whole thing with them, if they did do an immunity deal with them, she can't talk about it. Neither can Troy McCoy.
And many people seem to think you can't do immunity unless you testify or are a witness, and that is the case majority. However, there is a little thing called transactional immunity.
Right.
And what that means is you're turning over information and it never goes to trial. The transactional immunity can only be given in the event of a plea deal. So it doesn't go to trial.
Yeah.
So see, there is different immunities.
That's why with Dwayne, he goes, what happens if this goes to trial?
Yeah, why would he say
he goes,
that?
what happens if Chris pleads guilty to everything? Will it go to trial? Sorry, that's what he actually said.
Yeah, and he went on to say verbatim, he went on to say that, so if he just takes this plea deal up, this is over with. This is all
That's
over
right.
with. Okay, so that would fall in the lines of transactional, immunity being given. Look it up. It can't be given without a plea deal. That's not going to go to court or trial.
Right.
You see? So, yeah.
There's another one. N.A.'s son planted the purse. I think he actually... Okay, that goes back to N.A. I really do believe she went into that house through the front door between 8 and 8:30. She left the house around 9 because she had called Sandy. She actually called police. They did a wellness check, but they didn't call Chris. And I think that she took the phone and the purse out of the house. And when the police did show up for the second wellness check, 3 minutes into being into the house, Nick has the phone in his hand that come out of a sofa, and then everybody goes over to Nate's house, and then Dave shows up, and then the next thing you know, here is Nicholas putting the purse inside the kitchen, and swear to God, it's NA is running interference so that they can't see Nick in the kitchen when she hands the phone to the cop with Sandy on the phone.
Right. So, Jody, that's a good question. Where did it go? My opinion is it was cleaned up in the basement. I think that's where he attacked her, was in the basement. I don't know. What do y'all think, TJ, Dave? I think it was in the basement and NK cleaned it up. That's what I think.
I don't think her blood was gone. I just think the autopsy states that her organs were dried out. They don't mention anything like she was completely out of blood or anything like that. So I'm having a hard time with that. Where did her blood go? And didn't she have any blood and stuff like that? So I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to wrap your head around that, isn't it?
See, with her organs being dry and having to squeeze the spleen, to me that means total blood loss.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Where does it state that they had to squeeze the spleen?
No, that's in the autopsy, I thought.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take a look because I remember where it said they had to squeeze the spleen because people were complaining. Well, why? That's because that's right too. It might have been Rourke because, they had a big thing about it too, that they squeezed the spleen when they could have got a second sample through the eye to actually get, because of the high alcohol content.
Yes.
That's what that was all about, because they had to squeeze the spleen and they could have got it from the eyeball.
Right. Yeah, and it was odd that they didn't, because that is the most accurate place to take it.
Yes.
You know.
But then again, like you said, if she was miscarrying or whatever, and that's why the alcohol level is so high, because of all the gases in her.
Yes, Allison, let's see. Dave usually has that really handy, the membership link. I don't have it handy with me. And I know it's in the description box. But I know it's in the description box, but I don't have my little notebook pulled up. Dave's usually got all that. But thank you. Yeah, we have to do the members only chats on What's Wednesday because, well, I mean, this was good though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, tonight was good. I mean, the last time we were doing What's cases and didn't have it on members only, it was a damn train wreck, remember?
It was.
That's why we went to members only. But this has been really good, actually. Quite impressed. I was afraid. I didn't really think it was going to turn out this way. I thought we was probably going to have to move it over, but we didn't.
Yeah, it was for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after the fact. You're still catching hell when you didn't have it members only.
Right. See, I always thought the eyes is the first go-to. It is. I mean, that is the most accurate place, you know, to take blood for these tests. But yeah, it was through the spleen, which really, I never understood that. Unless, like Dave says, you know, everything else was dried out. That would really be the only reason they would do it, right?
Well, after she passed, if they already got all the blood they could, and there was nothing left to test.
Have any blood. Actually, Kim, with your membership, Nelly and I were talking about this because it come up when I have my new, what do you want to call it, update that come up.
Mm-hmm.
It has it on there by Unjustified coffee, and then membership all in one.
Really?
Yeah, but the only thing, it doesn't give you anything on option for your membership.
That's what those pictures were that he was sending in our group text.
I think I just put it in the chat, the membership link, but I didn't know that. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, I'll actually send that to you, and you can take a look at it. But yeah, it's completely different from the one that you were posting before.
I don't know. I'll have to look at that. I've never heard of organs drawn out. Any other cases where that's happened? I'm not sure. Not that I know of, but I can see it could happen, you know, hemorrhaging.
I might have an explanation why they took the spleen blood.
Why?
It states, I just put in Google, why do they take spleen blood rather than others in the autopsy, and it came up, your spleen's main function is to act as a filter for your blood.
Right.
So that makes sense, because if she was under any medications or alcohol or whatever, it would show up in the spleen blood the best, I guess, because the spleen is acting as a filter. So everything that she took would be visible in the result.
It would be in the hair too, but they said I thought they said a more reliable test would be from the eyeball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's normally. I mean, that's what I've always heard.
He wasn't out there long enough to be that badly decomposed.
Well, it states here that spleen is the most common if they are not sure and if they are performing laboratory tests afterwards. So
yeah,
it's basically, I'm thinking that's basically standard what they did.
A deposition is basically a deposition is like a written testimony.
Okay, I just asked the doctor that I worked for, and he said whenever you're doing toxicology that they do pull it from the spleen whenever you're doing a secondary test.
There you go.
So, and he's a forensics toxicologist. So
perfect.
Okay, that
I'm not going to give out his name because I don't want nobody to know where I live.
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do
I don't want to have to really wear body armor next week.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, y'all. Well, there's still a lot in here, but I'm gonna have to call it a night. If TJ, are you gonna go live later or?
Oh no.
No.
Not today. No.
Okay.
I have too much stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been here almost
very
4
much,
hours.
TJ.
What's that?
I said thank you very, very much.
Yes, thank you. It was a great live.
And what time is it there now?
I don't know,
Must be 8 o'clock in the morning.
Maybe the one in the description box. I don't know. Dave said he couldn't get it to work, or something's not right with it either. I don't know. What's not working? I don't know.
I'm gonna have to get you to put it in your about section because then it'll be there all the time.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You want the link for members?
Yes.
Is that what you are wanting? Hold on, I'll post it.
But no, everybody, don't forget Watts Wednesday.
Oh God.
It's not going to be a bashing
No.
session on the
No.
Watts. We're just bringing stuff out that the Watts contradicted and misinformed everybody on.
What the what?
Or I'm sorry, the Rusiks. Sorry.
Oh,
Rusiks.
I was
No,
like,
the
what
Watts.
the hell?
I dug
What are we doing?
and I can't find nothing on them.
On who, the Watts?
Yeah.
I can't either. I mean, I really can't. Really, there's nothing there. You know, and I'm not, and it's not like we're trying to dig dirt or anything, but
not at all.
When people's coming at you, you know, and they're like, well, you can't prove that. That's ridiculous. And it's like, don't tell me I can't prove it. I wouldn't say it if I can't prove it.
Right.
Welcome, Eagle Eye, to Unjustified.
Yes,
well, one thing
welcome, Eagle
about
Eye.
this Wednesday, it's about stuff that was being said during the interview, and then stuff that they actually said in the chats and on other lives too, that is absolutely false.
Yes. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean,
it is. Welcome, Gregory. We're to Unjustified.
And it's the timeline. Like you'll hear, I mean, I don't even know how to say it. You'll hear like, well, we didn't know this until, well, this is just a little part. We didn't know this until we heard it on TV. But no, no, that's not true.
No, I still have to. I think TJ still has to get some more actual receipts for this live because there's a lot there. There really is. So, and we don't want to say anything that's speculation.
No.
Stuff that we are going to be saying is actual proof. So,
yeah. Well, we won't
like
say
I said,
it.
we're not there to bash anybody. It's just how are we supposed to have a discussion if the information they give us is wrong and they know it's wrong?
Yeah, it's like a painted picture, painted away from the facts. It really is. And that's how can you form an opinion? I mean, that's what we are out here. We're a mock jury. I've always said that. This is what we do. This is our hobby. We do true crime, right? That's just what we do. So how can you form an adequate opinion with not having all the facts, or what you do have that we were going on, you later find out was not true? It'll kind of throw your whole thought process, you know, in a crazy angle. And we're not the only one that still talks about this case. Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I was pulling up today. There's a whole pile.
Yeah, the YouTube community isn't. I mean, Tammy and Coder's running around using this case as a domestic violence awareness case. I do not see this as a domestic violence case.
Neither do I.
I know it ended horrifically like that, but leading up to, I don't see it that way. In the way it's being painted, that's the only way I know to say it. I personally see this as a snapped. You know,
Them two should be the last people on this planet to go out trying to educate other people.
Exactly. And using that
Because
case,
they're just
what?
full of themselves.
Oh, they are.
I'm
I think
telling
something
you.
happened with the link, Kim, because when I click on it, it takes me to that give you a coffee. I'm not going to post that. That doesn't
I
take them to
told
the
you so.
membership.
I don't understand that. Welcome to
So
Team Unjustified, Gregory. Thank you for joining.
for anybody that wants to become a member, if you go to the main page, it'll be next to subscribe, and you can click join.
Yeah, so you're on a computer, or what is it? What kind of phone do you have?
I have Android.
Okay, yeah, because if you're on an iPhone, you have to go through Google, like actually Google it and ask for desktop version and then go through it that way. But we'll hopefully have it working before Wednesday and then have it posted.
It is, Sarah. It will be this Wednesday. And we're having to get started later now because we all have a lot going on.
And
Honestly.
time change.
Yeah, right up to 10 p.m., to be quite honest. I know
Yeah,
that's late, but
10
there's
p.m.
just,
for me, and it's 9 p.m. for you.
yeah.
No, 10 for us, 9 for you.
But
you're welcome. Thank you.
TJ never told us what time it is right now at her place.
9:07 a.m.
Cool.
Jeez.
Wow. Okay,
So-
we're at 2:07 a.m. here, and my birds are mad because I ain't covered them and got their 50s music on. They're mad.
I mean, their Elvis or music.
Yeah, they love their Elvis. Good Lord, they're going to scream y'all's ears. Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, moderators, everybody that joined membership, all the donations. Truly appreciated. TJ, huge kudos to you for coming on, girl.
Yes,
Thank
TJ,
you
it was
for having me.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been great.
And Megan, it was really, really good to hear her
Yes,
voice again.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And
it
thanks for
sure was.
Ara for popping in and vintage art also too.
Yes. And hopefully, Megan will start putting out some more videos. They're very interesting, y'all, really. No matter what your opinion is, your thoughts, theories, whatever, it don't hurt to listen to them. They're very interesting.
Right.
They are very interesting. And she put a lot of work into them,
A
just like
lot of
TJ
work.
and Kim do. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth a listen, guys. I mean, you don't have to agree with what she says, but all opinions are good to hear. I mean, to get a variety of different views on the subject isn't a bad idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
as long as they're respectful.
Exactly.
Even if you want to look at it and in your mind you're going into this going, there's no way I'm going to believe this. Well, you're not going to believe it when you go sit down to watch a sci-fi movie either, but you still watch it and listen to it, right? So open your mind, give it a chance. You might be surprised. Okay, well, I'm going to shut this down before my birds deafen everyone.
You guys have a good night.
Y'all
Jump
too.
off. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you Wednesday night with What's Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is UnJustified.